Sir?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Been waiting for this conversation tonight. It's gonna be a good one. We're gonna talk.
Mhm.
We're both former Hebrew Israelites, pretty much. We're both ex-Israelites who have
Yeah,
a
I
lot
wanted to
to say.
clarify.
Yeah.
I wanted to clarify something. I was a Hebrew Israelite and I was a street preacher,
Right.
and I street preach by the teachings. Back in those days, I was street preaching by the teachings of Great Millstone, basically.
Millstone, the GMS acronym, right?
Yeah,
What year was this?
2009, 2010. No, around 2010 to 2011.
You were only there for like a year, pretty much.
Yep, because I knew it was a waste of time, and plus my location.
Oh, right, your location. So you were mostly, I guess, like an internet type of believer or member.
Yeah, I
Okay.
wasn't really closely affiliated or associated with.
That seems to be the best way and the easiest way for people to leave this thing. Because I remember when I was, I mean, since '04, from '04 to like 2010, I was in there.
Hmm.
It was tough when you're constantly surrounded around people that confirm your belief, and
Hmm.
you got a leadership telling you, don't do this and make sure you're here. It's a Sabbath day, where you at, and things like that. But
Right. Like
what
I
about,
would get, I
yeah,
would get emails from the elders about certain things and stuff, and
yeah.
who was getting thrown out of the camp.
Okay, so they kept like a correspondence of members at least, or
Yeah,
believers, to try to keep
yeah.
up with via
Like
email.
I would speak to everybody the nationwide, basically,
Okay,
and I would upload the elders' videos, Tahar's videos, things
okay.
like that.
You'll be like hitting the internet with just videos of them preaching, trying to spread this thing, pretty much, right?
Yep, and I would go on the street and teach too.
Oh, so you go on the street. So were you by yourself doing that? Are you alone?
Yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah.
Okay. Hmm. We never did that alone. We never, because it's like we used to look at it like it's a dangerous thing.
It was dangerous. It was very dangerous. I could have lost my little life out there.
Yeah, I think about that, and I'm like, because like when people start talking about racism, and like we always talk about that, especially as the Hebrew Israelites. Uh,
Hmm.
if it was so bad, we, especially like you, if you're by yourself, you would have really felt it. Like somebody would have attacked you if it was as bad as we used to imagine that it was. But you know what? I actually see that we people used to let our crap just slide, and we would say
Oh
something.
yeah,
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 and
yeah. I mean, they would say some atrocious. I mean, the Israelites will always. I mean, even now, the Israelites say some atrocious, horrible things. And if the roles were reversed, people would have been terrified. Like if white people were saying the same things that the Israelites was basically saying.
they get chased
Oh,
in the streets. It happened. It
I mean,
happened.
black people be terrified, but black people be scared shitless.
Yeah, in Philadelphia, there was a group. There's something patriots. They always call themselves patriots, and it's a right wing type of a group that they might not even be like all crazy racist like a Hebrew Israelite, but just
Right.
because they might say certain things that are more Republican conservative type, people automatically assume they don't like black people. Like the Proud Boys is like that, and I'm like, the Proud Boys don't really seem like a racist group to me. They just seem a little bit far right. I don't see racism coming from them like that, but still, people take.
With a group like the Proud Boys, you have to pull that out of them.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's members there because like
Yeah.
there's members, they're Hispanic members. The person that they put as the face, I don't know if he still is, but he was an Afro-Cuban dude. And for the most part, they're just always talking about woke shit, wokeness is evil. And I align with them on a lot of things, as far as social. But there's always going to be disagreements, just like I have with liberals, and I think liberals have gone really far left, and that's what I think. Like, that's why we were allowed to speak out there in the streets like that. Is because there's just like white people that are very liberal walking around, and then it's like they don't really give a fuck about what we're saying. They'll actually agree with you and be like, "Yeah, we are evil. White people are."
Well, also though, I think that white people, I want to give them credit too.
Yeah,
Thing about white people is they kind of know more. They're more that. I want to be fair to everybody. All cultures experiences in the U.S.
yeah,
But white people are also familiar with the First Amendment.
that's right. Freedom of speech.
See what I mean? So they were that's part of it too.
Yeah, I won't. If I walk by somebody screaming out Hispanics are lazy and they need to go back over here, hey man, I'm not gonna go crazy and get physical or get violent. It's like, well, that's your right. That's fine. That's why this country. There's some great things about this country that we need to analyze. That shit. You go down to Uganda and you can't talk certain ways out there. You can't talk the way some of these people, these trans activists, they'll throw rocks at this
Look,
stuff.
man, listen. The only reason why Africa is even dealing with that now is
Yeah,
because they're under threat of the American government shutting things down or something like that.
yeah,
All
yeah.
kinds of stuff. So if they had it their way, they would have killed those folks a long time ago.
I mean, I'm seeing what's going on now. I remember back in 2019 or 2020 when BLM was like at its peak and really just going crazy. Um, I was like, I was looking all around. Like there were Vice, the Vice channel. They were putting out videos, documentaries about Nigeria, and I believe the name of the police is called SARS. I think SARS, and
Hmm.
and I'm thinking, is this what is this? Sounds like a COVID thing, but no, what that's actually the name of the acronym of the police force. And out there, they were literally shooting down people. They kill people, get away with it, and then they go protest against the cops, and they shot the protesters. There was a whole bunch of protesters that got shot down on like the front line, like Glory or something. I remember telling one of my friends, I'm like, where's BLM on issues like this? Because they make it seem like this country is so bad and police just want to kill black people. And I'm like, damn, I don't get. Listen, I've had my run-ins with cops, but I could seriously say sometimes I was in the wrong and I was pushing it, and cops, they have their authority for a reason. But I see certain issues that don't get addressed, you know, and it's all dealing with race. When it's like black on black, they be like, it's like they expect it, but when a white person does something, it's like, whoa, how dare you? You should know better. And it's like, damn, it seems like these motherfuckers are more racist than the conservatives because they be the liberals that like they get so outraged, and it's like, what do you expect black people to not, fucking be a certain way, and you expect white people like they hold white people to a higher standard, and then if they don't act that certain way, they get outraged, and then that's when a damn protest will begin. You see, I was telling you about that one kid. Damn, I forget his name, man. He was in Kansas City. It was a 16-year-old black kid. He rang a doorbell, and it was the wrong doorbell. It was the wrong house. He was looking for his brother so he could pick him up, take him home. And
Hmm.
I don't know why he didn't have the right address. He's just, I don't know. I don't know the backstory. Backstory sounds a little weird in the first place, but whatever. It's like 10 o'clock at night. This 16-year-old is knocking on random doors looking for his brother. And then he gets to one address. The white guy comes out and just shoots this kid twice in the head. Once while he's down already. So there's, Sean King, BLM, they go crazy. And then I looked this up. There's already a story from Saturday of a white woman that got shot by a white guy in his driveway because she pulled up looking for an address, and he comes out of his house and shoots this woman that's in the driveway that was posing no threat. And it's very similar, but you see a different reaction because they're black. And that's what I think I see with the racism that's being pushed by Hebrew Israelites, compared to white people. When they push it, it's more of an outrage.
Well,
People do it, it's just like, oh, okay, yeah, I understand.
well, as we said on the phone earlier this afternoon, you know, the white woman was killed by a white man.
You're right.
They're not going to talk about that. Definitely, they would rather speak about a black man and a white woman killing her. Possibly, you
Yeah,
have a better chance of that being accomplished than that
but
because there's nothing to gain there.
what if the shooter was black and it was a white woman? I think even then it wouldn't be such a big deal as white on
It
black.
wouldn't be it wouldn't be blasted on the nationwide news.
Oh yeah, no, it
It
wouldn't be.
wouldn't be a controversy like that.
Yeah, not like that, right? Yeah.
I'm just being honest. I mean, I don't wish for that to happen to these people. It's terrible events. But
So
if
real
it was a
quick,
black man that did it, nobody would have talked about it as much.
yeah,
But go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
it doesn't reach the same levels like that I see when it's white on black, and it's horrible situations. I think that 84 white
Now,
80
if it was black on Asian, they'll talk about that.
they might talk about that. Yeah, I mean, Asians are a
And
minority.
see, those are but those are not necessarily racial incidents. Really, those people are crazy. Like, the people who are attacking these people are
Sometimes
mentally ill.
yeah. That's what I think is this 84-year-old white guy. I think he was crazy too. He seemed a little out there. Like
Hmm.
that's another thing. I see that a lot with when it's a black person. I see that people want to always say, well, mental illness. But then when it's a white person, it's just like, none. I don't really hear that as much. And I'm like, that could be the problem too. I'm seeing some of this stuff with some of these Karens that get beat the hell down. There was a damn white woman that spit on a black woman in a bank
Hmm.
not too long ago, and this black woman went crazy on her. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, well deserved. But then I'm like, she seems a little off. This white woman, she doesn't seem right. Who goes and spits on people, in the streets like that,
Mentally ill.
public? And it's like I don't hear those
She's
excuses.
crazy.
I hear no white privilege, racism, and it's like maybe she's just fucking crazy,
Yeah.
and racist.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, because
Right.
sometimes when you go crazy, all that shit comes out. You just, racist and everything, and it's like maybe that's the damn problem there. But no, I think
Hmm.
that some of those situations with black on Asians. Because I did two videos on Asian hate. I did part one and part two. Yo, that part one got so much damn like feedback, but some of it was negative, and
Hmm.
people was just talking about the fact that I'm showing this, and I'm like, well, why not? What's the problem? Like, it's this seems like an issue here. And then not only that, on top of that, the Anti-Asian Defamation League was like underplaying the incidents. They were like, yo, they said it was only like two incidents of black on Asians during the whole year of 2020 or 2021.
No, there was more than that.
It was way more than that. It was two
Yeah.
incidents in a day one time, just in Oakland alone or in San Francisco, like where there's a lot of Asians.
Especially during COVID.
Yo, during COVID, yeah, that's what it was, and it's like I think that yeah, some of these people were crazy, but because of COVID, and people having this, calling it the Chinese flu, and it's like not just because they're calling it that, but there's
The
already been
Chinese virus.
the Chinese virus, yeah.
Hmm.
But then my Asian hate part two went on the Hebrew Israelites though, and how
Hmm.
how Hebrew Israelites are like pretty much they make it a doctrine to hate Asians. It's like it's like a breakdown, of why they hate Asians and all that crap. You remember that Moab and them?
Moab is my watch pot.
Yeah, right.
The scriptures about Moab and Ammon being born of incest.
Right. Oh, let me say what's up to Mike Stevens.
Disgusting.
Mike Stevens. I missed some of these comments, but let me just go back. He says, "Proud Boys is Proud Boy's head is Afro-Cuban. I think he meant to say Proud Boy's head is Afro-Cuban. What up, Mike Stevens? That's a good dude right there. I don't think he's a former Hebrew Israelite. I think he is actually. I know he's an atheist. Jay Fry testify against this wackadoo cult. Yeah, we need to get on these Hebrew Israelites, my man Jace. In Jesus' mighty name, bless you, brothers, for getting out. Lead more souls out of this madness. Jenny Miller says, "Real women vote for Trump." What's happening? All right, but yeah, I need to refill my drink. I think I might just want to ask you a question so you could talk about something real quick while I do that. So going back to the GMS days, man. While I go do that, just real quick, if you could tell everybody here in the audience what it's like, because I know what it's like to do this street speaking thing. What's the setup? Did you have to print out these papers? Like, go run through that real quick and just explain to people what street speaking and street preaching is. While I go do that, I'll be right back. But go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Street preaching is basically what the Israelites would refer to as performing the righteous acts, also to make a fool out of yourself for the truth, for the truth of the salvation of the Lord, or something like that. And what we were doing was basically saving souls in our minds. We were trying to save the souls of the supposedly the 12 tribes of Israel. And we would approach people. Me, I couldn't. I tried to street preach in a loud voice, like the Hebrew Israelites would normally do, but that didn't work out because of the location that I was in that wasn't appropriate for stuff like that. So I had to really walk up and talk to people, conversate with people. I asked them, "Are you a Native American Indian? Are you black or whatnot?" You know, one person responded to me, "I'm both black and the Native American Indian." And I said, "Okay, your father's a Native American Indian?" He's like, "Yeah." So
You
I
got
said, "You're a Gaddite."
Yeah. There's always that question. Your father. So
Yeah, yeah, man. We're doing the foolish acts. What's that part in the Bible where we're fools to do? Yeah, well, what we do here is foolishness.
it says we're fools for Christ or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we would go out on the street because it's foolish to do that in the middle of the street. It was what I did was batshit insane.
Yeah.
Everybody's walking past me. It's fucking winter. It's about 30 degrees outside.
What about
It was
us
stupid.
here in Florida? In the summer, man, it'd be like hot as hell, and we got our garments on, these heavy garments, just like we sweating our asses off. You know what I mean? But
With Bible scriptures and highlighted, the scriptures all highlighted and shit.
yeah, pretty much. It's crazy, man. My daughter made some cookies and shit. I went outside. I'm like, oh snap.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
um, I remember we had to pay so many different funds. Like, you had to pay tithes as a GMS member.
I did not pay tithes, and my way of paying tithes was uploading their content because we were kind of financially insolvent. We didn't have the funds for it.
Did they ever get on you for not paying tithes?
They got on everybody.
Yeah,
They got on everybody as usual.
yeah. You could get kicked out in the ICGJC for not paying your tithes.
Hmm.
But see, in our situation, in my situation, in ICGJC, anybody that was a member knows we used to pay 20% of our income, the double
That's
tithe,
terrible. That's terrible. That's terrible.
twenty
That's
percent.
like most of your check. That's damn near your check.
Yeah, that's what like YouTube I think takes like 20% or 30%. of the proceeds or whatever from people. And I know there's certain people that go live and they don't like,
YouTube is gangster. Yeah,
yeah, because you
that's
could
gangster.
just put your Cash App and tell people no, send it there. But people like to have that message. Sometimes you post a message
Mhm.
and it'll get like pretty much the highlight. It'll get highlighted because you paid. The super chat.
Mhm.
That's what it is. It's called the super chat.
Mhm.
So people like to do that, and it's like, all right, I mean, I don't even think my thing is activated. I'm trying to get it all activated because I want to do this full time. I got so many videos right now. I forgot to send you the video I was working on. I'm almost
Right,
done. Like a
right.
20.
You was talking about it.
Yeah, it's like it's something different. We'll talk about that another time. But it's just this Hebrew Israelite thing, man. It's like I see people that are focused on it, like Christians, which is good, you know. And
Mhm.
I got a question here. I actually want to get into this a little bit because it kind of goes into similarities of Christians and Hebrew Israelites. San Miguel TV. Jenny Miller says, San Miguel TV, what are your opinions on gay people? So, man, I have a lot of opinions on gay people. First of all, my first thought is it doesn't bother me. Um, I'm all right with somebody telling me and me being a friend with a gay person. I'm okay with that. I don't think I have any gay friends. But I don't have a problem with it. Definitely coming up where I grew up, the people I grew up around, you couldn't have somebody say, "Yo, I'm gay," and they still gonna be hanging out around us, and we cool. That's just how it was where as far as where I grew up at before the
That's
Hebrew Israelite days. As a Hebrew Israelite, I was not okay with it at all. I've even had there was an incident, Jason. There was an incident at an IHOP one time. Right now, it's like a Saturday night. I'm chilling with my worldly friends. I'm a Hebrew Israelite, and I believe this was still the time when I was in the cult, like as an active member, and not just put
Mhm.
out. Um,
Mhm.
and I get approached by somebody at a table. Pretty much just comes and approaches me and my friend, and comes to me and says, "My friend over there likes you." And I was like, "What?" A whole table of very flamboyant gay people, just doing weird shit. I don't know what they're doing. They were like twerking or something. And I'm like, okay, I don't care, but be gone and whatever. We go about with our business. We pay our tab, or we're ready to pay our tab. We went online because I think IHOP that they were the one we went to at least. You got to stand up and wait to pay your tab at the register. And these cats get up as soon as we get up. Now they're behind us, and they keep pushing it, man. And I'm like, damn, I just turned them down, and now I'm getting pushed again. Like, yo, my friend likes you, and I'm like, listen, man, you're going to hell. You got the Bible says you're
They
gonna
just got the
burn.
wrong person. They got
It,
the wrong dude that time.
it,
No, that
it
ain't gonna
became
work.
an ongoing joke with my friends because, like, I was like getting tight, and my friends they weren't Hebrew Israelites, but the response from it was a white flamboyant ass gay dude, and he was trying to get me like hooked up with his black friend, and the white dude was like very vocal, and I'm like, "You're gonna burn in hell. Do you understand? You're gonna burn in hell." And he's like, "Well, I guess I'm gonna burn then. I guess I'm gonna burn then." And that shit became like an ongoing joke around my friends. I guess I'm gonna burn then. I guess I'm gonna burn. Like we kept like my friends will keep bringing that shit up. And then when I left the cult years later, I'm at a party with some of the same friends. It's a house party, whatever, and they bring that story up as kind of like making fun of me for doing that. And I felt a little ashamed because I'm not like that anymore. Like I mean, I'm definitely gonna turn down any advances, but I won't be telling them that they're gonna burn in hell and shit like that. But as a Hebrew Israelite, I was like very aggressive, and you see that a lot. That becomes a main topic in street speaking, street preaching. It's like condemning gay people, And I think that they're born that way. That's what I think. It seems like, and that's what the scientific consensus is that the majority of them, the vast majority of them, they're born that way. So it's
Well,
like like
humans.
yeah, it's like me condemning somebody because of their race, which they had no choice in, the race, sexual orientation, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a choice in these things. You're born a certain way. It just doesn't seem right for me to condemn you because of those things. That's just a little opinion for me. What I think about gay people, LGBT. I'm all right with them. They're cool with me. Some of them be the best people in the world, bro. Like some of the best tips I've ever gotten as a rideshare driver was from gay people, man.
I
Like
have a ride share business. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, and you know what I'm talking about. As a Hebrew Israelite, we get on white people, but damn, we get on LGBT a lot. And
anybody. Yeah,
yeah, and this is
everybody.
the
Everybody.
ground that a Christian like a vocab Malone and certain Christians they'll find common ground with Black Hebrew Israelites on how they feel about LGBTQ. And yeah, I mean, it's all right. Like as far as if that's your belief as a Christian that that's something wrong, there's something wrong with that. I'm all right with people believing that. I understand it. Remember, I was there. I get it. I get why people think it's weird, or because it is different. It's not the norm, you know. But is it?
Mm-hmm.
Here is becoming the norm nowadays. If you're not, like, people look at you sideways. Wait, you're not gay? you're not. You're not bi-curious? No. But hey man, listen, I was watching Kevin Gates. I don't know if you ever heard of the rapper Kevin Gates.
I never heard of him.
Okay, he's this black rapper that is very conservative. Like, I mean, he says a lot of shit that I be saying. He be getting on black crime. Like, he hates that shit, and because it's so prevalent. That's why I hate it too. Because it's like just how it gets ignored. And I heard Kevin
And
Gates.
see, that's that. You know what though, Sam? The messed up thing about the Ethan Lyman case was
Yeah,
it's hard, and I know this is not fair to say this, but it's kind of hard to look at his crime as a hate crime because blacks do the same thing to black folks all the time,
yeah, yeah. I don't think there's any evidence of a hate crime, and I'm all
and
right.
black people kill each other in all kind of ways. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. That's what.
they.
That's what.
I mean, honestly, they really treated him like they would have treated a normal black person.
Right. Maybe. Yeah. I think so. I think also though the where the race comes in Ethan Lyman's case, I think had to do with the DAs and their uh their inability to prosecute justly. I think that's where the race comes in. But the incident itself just seemed like a normal incident in the hood, right? This is what I was going at with Kevin Gates when he's talked about black on black crime. He was talking about how he's seen people get shot right in front of his face, and then they on the floor already dead. He said, "I seen the dude put more bullets in this guy. He was already dead on the ground." He's like, they put more bullets inside of him, man. And he's like, "We kill each other. We do this to each other." But as soon as a white person does something to one of us, we all go hooping and hollering, and that was one of his messages. I think I put it on one of my videos because, but I got to Kevin Gates because he also made a statement. He's been put out recently. He's been outed as messing around with trans women, and he's a black rap. He's a rapper. Like, that shit don't fly in the black community, in the hip hop community.
No,
That don't fly at
no,
all.
no,
But
and like, and this is my thing that I have to say to black gay people, um, and black trans people who are part of the Black Lives Matter, because I think Black Lives Matter is more of a progressive gay movement as well.
well,
See,
yeah,
that's not your usual black movement.
the three founders are all lesbians. Patrice
Yeah,
Cullors and the other two women, I believe they're all lesbian women. And the $90 million that they were donated in 2020, a lot of that went to LGBT activist groups that they're affiliated with. Some funny
Okay.
business going on. Yeah, they were
Okay.
laundering some of that money through their own friends and
Okay.
supposedly donating. But yeah, you're right. You're right.
But
It's very intertwined. It became a black movement. It started off as a black movement that we thought, and then somewhere along the line, they just squeezed that LGBT issue in there.
in the last
And it
two
became,
years or so,
yeah, I would,
2 or 3 years from ago.
yeah, I would say the last three, yeah, I would say the last 3 years or even more. They've
Yeah.
they've been focused on trans rights, black trans though. That's the thing because they're
Black trans rights.
yeah, because there's groups that they donated to that are specifically black LGBT or black trans groups. So it's not only LGBT, it's not only trans. You got to be a black LGBT or black trans, and then that's when they'll work with what they'll whatever collab. And
Yeah,
some
because
groups don't have any like they don't do anything. They just have a website, and then it's like there's no gathering, there's no movement, there's no marches, there's nothing, there's no get-togethers. It's just it seems like what BLM was doing was literally donating money to themselves and making it seem like they're donating to this group, and it's like yeah, they're I don't know, man. I really don't fuck with BLM for many reasons.
well, see, my thing is to the black trans and gay community is, if black people had their way, they would have burnt those folks at the stake.
Mm,
I'm telling you, if society, the reason why you got gay people, the reason why these black gays and stuff are allowed to do that in America is because there's white folks here. You, you,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you, and I'm saying once the system falls apart or something,
Hmm.
they're the first ones to basically go.
Here's a comment real quick, Jason. A few comments.
Mhm.
Millennial, secular, and auth-right. I like that. I don't know what auth-right means, but he said, did you join because you hated white people? I didn't join because I hated white people.
I'm
That's
the same way too.
yeah,
I'm the same way too.
yeah,
Like I joined because I thought this is the perfect way to follow the Bible.
right. So I was raised religious. So were you.
Yeah,
You were already in it. You were already so religion had a lot to do with this, but I think me and you alike. We are part of a certain cloth. We're cut from a certain cloth, me and you.
we wanted to follow Jesus Christ
Right.
in the most efficient way as possible. That is my statement to Mr. Alt Right. What's his name?
Alt-right, millennial, secular, and alt-right, not alt-right. That's why
Okay.
I wasn't alt-right, but that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, he said
Yeah.
I joined late, and then he said, and while in the group, did you fixate on enslaving whites? Oh, that was a very big part of the doctrine. Was we're gonna get you going to slavery? Like
Right. Right.
it's
And we didn't see it as slavery as, yeah, we get to have these white people as slaves. No,
right.
it was the gift of the Lord. It's the gift of God showing us that he loved us.
And it's a payback too. It's like sweet revenge
Yes.
way. Like to me,
Yes.
I wasn't so fixated on that because yeah, it came to mind, and I would mostly think of it as something that we all would do collectively. I never really thought about it and what I would do with my own personal white slave. I think I thought about it maybe once or twice, jokingly saying, like, I'm going to have a white jester, like a white, like somebody that's going to make me laugh and shit, like a Will Ferrell or some white, because I'm a big Will Ferrell fan. So I'm like, oh, I got dibs on Will Ferrell. There's people like that, like Hebrew Israelites that be like, oh, I'm gonna get this. This is gonna be my white slave. Oh, I want Donald Trump, or I want Ron DeSantis, or whatever the fuck. It's like we got dibs. I got dibs on that, and I remember people doing that in the club, and it seemed like a joke. It's like, if only we could type shit, because I really did. I mean, I really believed some of this shit, but it like almost in a way, I felt like I don't know, man. Like I thought it would happen in my lifetime for sure. I remember like
Yeah.
believing like something something was gonna happen in my lifetime, definitely. But yeah, over the years, man, it's like just like around 2010, 2011, I was already in this shit for 6 years, 7 years, and I was just tired of
I'm
being.
sorry. I'm sorry you had to serve that for like 6 to 7 years. That's sad. I apologize.
Yeah, so he says because much of Latin America, especially Argentina, is of European descent. Yo, look at me, man. I'm so European. And he said, "Did you recognize white Latinos as Edomites who were Spanish?" Yo, some
This is an excellent question he's asking. Okay, because what he's asking on the board, on the comment board, excellent question. Because we got to talk about that.
for sure.
Because when you look at the elders of GMS, it fits them.
Yeah.
It fits someone like Tahar. Like to me, I don't belong to this face. It's
Yeah.
because I'm black. Like I'm totally black. You
Mm.
understand what I'm saying? Tahar, though, on the other hand,
Black, bro. I felt like I was black, and I'm not
yeah,
black.
but Tahar on the other hand, is actually mixed with
That's right.
um I'm sorry.
Him and his brother. Yeah, that's right. They're mixed.
Tahar is mixed with Latin American blood from Argentina, places like that. I
Mm.
think his mother was Peruvian.
Are you serious?
And yeah, something like that. I think that's true.
I mean, I knew
And he's part
definitely
black.
for sure.
I think he's part what is he? He claims he's a Levite.
He claims he's his father's, so his father's Haitian, it seems, but so
Yeah.
Gorilla Hebrew's father Haitian. And when
Okay.
Gorilla Hebrew did his DNA test, and it came back that even through his father's DNA, there's white, the Y chromosome. It came up as being, I believe it was A1B1B or something, which is European. Um, and we already know his mother's white.
Mm-hmm.
He admitted that, and now it's coming out that his father's DNA through his father's father, whatever, which they love to go through. You could actually calculate that through genetics today. He's found out he's white on both sides. Even his father, who's Haitian. There's a lot of Haitians. My wife is Haitian. She's like 90% African, and you wouldn't. I mean, you definitely see that she's at least 90% African. She's very, very African. There's no doubt about it.
Right. Right.
But the other 10% or so is European, and
Well,
it's
like
Haitian.
I had a great grandfather. I had a great grandfather who was half Jewish.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I
I
mean,
guess through slavery or something like that. All the race mixing.
and
And
he
go
says,
ahead, sir.
millennial secular says, because a lot of white Mexicans are mostly assimilated into white Europeans. So you can tell the difference, right? Look at Selena. Selena seems very indigenous, but yo, Talia is another one, Mexican.
But you can't tell from that. You really can't tell
Oh man,
from
like
that.
the ones that are in the novellas, they don't look like the ones you see operating the taquerias and the taco trucks. The ones
Like
that
actually though, you can see a white Mexican,
Mhm.
and his brother is a Meso Mexican.
Mesoamerican, right?
Yeah, his cousin or his brother, or sometimes blood relatives. These are blood relatives. These people are in the same family. I mean, same direct family.
I've
Um,
seen it before.
yeah, it's like light skinned black people and dark skinned black folks.
Okay. Yeah.
It's the same thing as that.
Richard Pryor was very much mixed with white.
Mm-hmm.
He spoke about it before, and you see it. You see it clearly. Um, you
Like
know,
my mom is the same complexion as Richard Pryor.
okay, yeah,
You
very,
see what I mean?
very what they call fair skinned. So
Yeah.
millennials. So it wasn't really black Latinos and natives. It was really just blacks and natives. No, well, I mean,
What is he speaking about?
yeah, I think he's saying like the people that would come into this thing, into the cult. It was all of that. I mean, it was people like myself. They were very white
No,
looking.
there were white folks. I mean, there were dudes, there were Latinos that were actually white looking.
There were actually white people in the ICP.
Yeah. Had Italians and shit.
No, they were African blacks, but I mean, like, well, they considered some Africans, Israelites. They would tell you because every time I would like after I left this thing and started debating these guys, and I would bring up the fact that blacks look like Africans, and it's like fucking black Americans are Africans. What are you talking about? West Africans look like Haitians, and they are. Most of the majority of Haitians come from West Africa, and Jamaicans too. Ghana, that's what
Right.
they are, and they look like that. Where like they want to be white rappers, where I don't really know what he's getting at. My bad, man. Maybe it's the way you're wording things, but I guess like an Eminem, right? Like maybe like
What drove whites to join? What drove the whites to join, or then anybody else,
with
was
white
not
people,
the hatred of white people. That was not
white
the
people
hatred
with
of white
white
people.
guilt and shit.
Yeah, it wasn't the hatred of white people or anybody else. We thought we were joining because we love Jesus Christ and we wanted to follow God as much as possible to the maximum capacity.
Yeah,
Like there's a difference between the KKK. See, the KKK or something like that,
yeah.
that's really based on hatred.
But you don't
This
think
is
some black people that joined this thing, or even Hispanics or whatever Native Americans that did hate, and this kind of fell right into their little comfort zone and their belief. Also, also going along with their religious belief. I think that it did. I think in some ways
in
when
some ways it did, but what makes it even more dangerous though was that you had Bible verses telling you how to follow the Bible correctly.
right, so
And
he
you know what though? That stuff is in the Bible. All that shit is in the Bible.
all that hate stuff, we were quoting scriptures. It's
Yeah.
just that we would say that white people are these Edomites here, and historically, Edomites in the Bible, Edomites are the enemies of the Israelites. Historically, you see it from
For
Genesis.
all time. For
You see
all time.
to Malachi, all throughout the Old
Right.
Testament. It's about Edomites. Edomites are evil. They always hate us, and they always blah blah blah. Now he's saying millennial secular authorite saying, I'm asking if the type of white person who joins is someone who is a wannabe rapper. I would say no, not always. But
Hmm.
yeah, I get what you're saying. Yes, it's like a person that wants to be down. They just want to be down. It's like you see white liberals get on their knees and lick the boots of black Hebrew Israelites. Why are they doing that? They hate them. And they're telling them to their face, you are garbage. You're going to be a slave. You might as well apologize. What's up, D? You might as well get on your knees. And do you really feel sorry for what your people have done? Well, get on your knees and lick our boots, because the Bible
Hmm.
says that that's what was going to happen, and they consider that prophecy. It's crazy. But there was a white in Ohio, and what's his name, Vocab Malone. We were talking about this when Vocab Malone first started realizing what the hell this whole Hebrew Israelite shit is. Vocab, as a Christian, as a rapper, he wanted to be a rapper. He's a white dude that wanted to be a rapper, so he's very much in tune with the culture. He said that the leader of Ohio, I believe he said Ohio, was a white guy. He was white, bro, but he had the spirit of a Jake. You ever heard Tahar say, "That's a Jake."
He has a spirit of a Jake, right? Bruce Lee's an Israelite.
That means
Like
that
Bruce Lee's an
on the
Israelite.
outside, but on the inside, he's black. He's one of us.
The Israelite foreigners.
Right. Like how they say Lenny Kravitz looks black, but he's not. He's white.
Right.
It's like the opposite. They won't accept somebody like Lenny Kravitz and even Zoe Kravitz, or whatever his daughter's name is.
Mm-mm. But
Yeah,
they'll take someone like Bruce Lee.
they'll take Bruce Lee for what? It doesn't make sense.
Bruce Lee's an Israelite.
Why do they say that, bro? Because he's good at karate? Like, it doesn't make sense.
No, he moves like a nigga. You
Oh,
see the way he's moving around like that? He danced the way he just moved.
got the littlest tone, the dark skin, because he's a little brown. It's crazy, man.
No, he's 3/4 Chinese and 1/4 German.
That's good enough. That's good enough. Yeah.
He's not.
They'll say, well, the fathers. It's like, how do you even know that? But that's how crazy they are. It could be just like the
But it
smallest.
makes sense now. It makes sense because when you look at their backgrounds, like that whole 12 tribes thing, it makes sense to someone like Tahar or Rhymelab or even who's the third one? Bar.
Gabar.
It
Gabar
makes
is
yeah.
Gabar Tahar's brother?
I don't know about that. No, I don't think so.
Tahar has a brother who's very light skinned too, who's in there. It's not Gabar. Yeah, no. Who's the other light skinned cat? He plays the background. He seems very cool. He's always
The
playing these.
light skinned guy is Rhymelab.
And he's an elder. He wears like a green. He always wears like a green garment, I think.
Rhymelab. Oh, you talking about the other guy? Is a different light skinned guy, but he's younger, right?
Yeah, he's a little younger than Tahar. He's Tahar's younger
Yeah,
brother, and he looks like Tahar a little bit if you look at him. And he talks like Tahar, and he be in the background like Gabar. Gabar is very dark. I know who Gabar
yeah.
is. Um,
But Gabar has white blood in him.
does he? Get the hell out.
Yeah,
How's he
he
know
has
that?
Irish blood in him. Most blacks in America do though.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
most of us have Irish blood in us anyway
The Irish,
because
were
of the slave mixing, the
yeah.
mixing between them and the like the first slaves that got here in America. There
Mhm.
wasn't no black women here yet, and
Until
the
16, there wasn't, any of that. There wasn't any of that, like, and slavery pretty much until like 1619.
yeah,
But then before that, you had a lot of Asian. There were Asian slaves, but
mm-hmm.
the Irish were considered what the Hebrew Israelites will call what do they call it? Swarthy. You ever heard that term?
Yeah,
Swarthy means black.
mm-hmm.
So what was happening was, and then the Hebrew Israelites, with their ignorance, what they'll do is they'll consider that term, just because they use that term, which is just talking about white people. These black Hebrew Israelites will say, "You see, the real Irish are black. The real Germans
No,
are."
no,
You ever heard that? They'll say the original Irish and the Germans were black. It's,
no. The Germans wasn't black. Germans wasn't black.
but, but yeah, there's definitely there's definitely people that join this shit, the Hebrew Israelite movement, that are wanna be black. Like me and Marksman got into this conversation one time. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
it's a very convincing religion, yes, sir. Very convincing. I mean, listen, it gets people, man. Like me and Jason Creed are not stupid, man. I don't think I'm stupid. I know Jason is not stupid. You know,
Right.
like we just kind of fell. You know what I mean? Like it just seemed like it right on point with politics, not just religion. Like millennials
Yeah,
are very political. It's very
right.
political because it touches on this racial thing. You know what I mean?
It is I would say that to me this was more of a beautiful setup in terms of drama.
Yeah,
It was like a movie.
yeah.
It was just a well written script, just a better script than something like the KKK would have had. You see what
Because
I mean?
the black man in America is the underdog, and people always root for the underdog. And
Yes,
in the
yes,
Bible, the Israelites are the underdog in the Bible. Every nation
yes.
is against them. The Greeks unconquered them. The Assyrians, you name
Right,
it. You name it.
right,
The Persians, the Babylonians, they kept getting their asses kicked. And
right.
somehow they prevailed as a people. And it was seemed very like, movie like. And it's like, how else could we prevail if it's not a God? And it's like, but they would use that.
And see, that's the purpose of putting black people, adding black people to the Bible,
Mm,
no matter what way you do it. Like if you did it from a Judeo Christian aspect and you add black folks towards the Bible looks more international, more grand in scale.
yeah.
But in reality, the Bible's only dealing with Arabs,
Yeah. If you
different type of Arabs. That's it. Like the Bible's not dealing with all these damn groups.
like if you look at the Hamites, that
Yeah,
according to the Hebrew Israelites and a lot of religious people, they considered Ham all Africans. But
yeah, they're not
the
African.
people living in the Middle East at that time had no idea what a South African or a Bantu was. They had no idea
No,
what that was. They even
no,
they didn't even make it to that part of the world or had any connection. You don't see that up until maybe a few hundred years after the Roman
yeah.
Empire or the Greek Empire. They did know was Kush, though they knew a little bit about. At least the Egyptians knew about Sudan and Kush, and they
And
knew
The Kushites were the same as the Arabs. Damn near, they were just mixed up
they they were,
black people
they were a little
with
darker.
Arab blood and white blood in them.
They were a little darker, and their hair grew different. Definitely, the way they depicted them,
Yeah,
the I
curlier.
right, they would depict them with their hair growing up, and that's where I see a lot of the differences. Like sometimes you'll find Arabs, and you'll see the depictions of like Jesus Christ, the Russian icons, and they'll depict Jesus, and his hair is coming down, it's falling down, and it's like that's not how black people's hair grows. It doesn't just
No,
fall down like that. What, you think Jesus Christ had a perm or something? Yeah. But just to address some of these comments, because the comments are great. Does the BHI, this is from D. Boudreaux, does the BHI share any ideas with the Islam movement, pretty much, or Muslims? The Nation of, or the Nation, I'm sorry. Does the BHI share any ideas with the Nation of Islam? Hell yeah. Especially in the ICGJC, there was a doctrine that the Tazadakia was the comforter. You heard of this when you came in 2010. Tazadakia was the comforter, and everybody hated Tazadakia. From
everybody hated them. Everybody wanted them dead and everything.
even people in the cult that were under Tazadakia, they hated this guy.
Yeah,
The EMS hated him. ISUPK because Yahana was Tazadakia's leader back in the 90s. He was his group leader, his unit squad leader, or whatever the hell.
hmm
And now he called himself the Comforter. In the Nation of Islam, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad used to call himself the Comforter too. Did you know that? He called
no.
himself. That was a doctrine in the Nation of Islam that he.
Elijah Muhammad was like a comforter. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, and he went. He called himself the Comforter, and he said that he
hmm
was fulfillment of Jesus Christ in John chapter 14, John chapter 15, John chapter 16. Jesus Christ speaks about the coming of a Comforter that would come after he passes away, after he dies. There was going to be someone else there to kind of take the place of Jesus Christ to comfort the people, and this is left up to interpretation. And you got people like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, whatever, Nation of Islam. They would definitely push that. So that's one thing. But the other similarities, of course, is how they feel about abortion, how they feel about the LGBT community, how they feel about black on white. It definitely is very similar to the Nation of Islam. The Nation of Islam is like a black alternative spirituality movement outside of Christianity, the typical Baptist church, Presbyterian. It's an alternative type of spirituality movement, black spirituality, like the Five Percenters, right? The Moors, the
Mm-hmm.
the Rastas, exactly. Rastas use the comforted term too. Okay, I'm not too familiar
Mm-hmm.
with that, but I definitely heard. I love Rastafarian music. I love reggae music, especially the conscious Sizzla Kalanji. I love Sizzla Kalanji. I love like reggae music. Period. And I hear a lot of the stuff that we would talk about. Melchizedek. They talk about all this stuff. The Comforter. You hear it in the music. Bob Marley
Mm-hmm.
things too.
I
Um,
remember. I remember going to the IUJC's website. I mean,
IUIC.
and yeah, I mean yours. I mean,
ICGJC.
yeah, yeah. I would go to their website and I would hear the Comforters music playing.
From the from it's from a R&B group named Shy,
Okay, shy, right?
and then
Okay,
I will be
I will be your comforter.
and the name of the website is www.thecomforter.info.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, man. I would think about because like when you hear that music playing and I'm thinking about Taz as a Dakia and sparkles and shit
With rhinestones. He's the
with,
rhinestone.
with like a giant a big old 60 foot. That's brilliant. Just brilliant. Just brainwashing people.
He
Yeah, I
loved
remember
those.
I fell victim to that shit. I fell victim to that bullshit myself, man. Excellent. Excellent. Excellent.
Hey, they there was a lot of damn idolatry in the ICGJC. Not
He
only
had that toy. Remember that toy he had?
they not only did they worship Tazadakia, but they worshipped the shit out of Arya. Arya was like a historic figure to us. People loved Arya, man.
Is he
They
still alive or not?
yo, my guess
Nobody knows.
as good as anybody's guess. I have no clue. I don't
Because I heard he passed
why.
away.
Why?
Yeah, yeah, I heard he passed away recently, and now I heard a family member say he's alive. So I don't know what's going on.
So somebody says millennial secular authorite says also what's the difference between IUIC and GMS? Maybe you can answer that, man, Jason. What do you think is the difference between IUIC and GMS?
Well, one of the difference is the comforter. Okay,
No,
Tazadakia.
IUIC and GMS. Remember
Oh, you mean
IUIC, that's Bishop Nathaniel, which came out of GMS. Remember,
okay? Yeah, right.
not he didn't come out of GMS, but GMS and IUIC both came out of the House of David. So you have the House of David, and then there's two different branches out of the House of David. You got GMS and IUIC coming out of the House of David.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
Well, the
yeah,
difference is one of the differences is that the IUIC and GMS have an issue with the name of the Lord.
Yahweh Shai. Yahweh.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yahushai. And one time there was one of Nate's followers said it doesn't matter what a name you call him.
Yes, I've seen that before.
And once you say things like that, that causes a riff right there.
Yeah,
And another thing they had a problem with Nate was that he was a cop.
yeah. He was a former. He was not only a cop. He was a detective, which is
Okay,
a little bigger. Yeah, yeah.
okay.
You ever heard of Killer B, the Witchfinder General? You ever heard of this guy?
I never heard of it.
Killer B, the Witchfinder General, man. He's been on my channel before. You would love this guy, man. He used to be in Torah Knights, which is an internet based Israelite group with
Mm-hmm.
along with a white dude named Nagy Springfield, who he was white, man, and he was literally accepted as a white guy, not just you're Jake, you're really a Jake because you. No, they would say no, you're white, but you could be down with us because there's Black Hebrew Israelite groups that will accept white people
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not and won't claim that he's really a Jake. But
No.
GMS is the type of group that'll say, yeah, you could come in because you got the spirit of a Jake. Yeah, you look white, but you're really a Jake. And that's two different things. Like there's a lot of different ways that these groups go in many different directions. But IUIC and GMS definitely grew a lot since 2010 when it looked like the ICGJC was going to be the biggest group.
Mm-hmm.
And around 2010, around the time that I left, and then 2012 was when Tazadakia made the doll, and
Yeah.
he sued over the doll, and then it was just like one bad story, and then after another, and it just the ICGJC did not grow to the full potential that I thought it was going to grow to, and I blame it on
Mm-hmm.
Tazadakia. I blame it all on Tazadakia because we had the organization, we had we had the garments, all the the ranking garments, the color garments, and everything was in order before the IUIC, and GMS still don't have anything like that. As far as like
No.
ranking,
No.
it seems like
Like
yeah,
GMS, what GMS did have. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Go ahead. I
yeah,
apologize.
like GMS seems very disorganized, and IUIC to me they seemed more organized. Just to call out some of the differences that I see, you know. But yeah,
IUIC was more about family too.
yeah. Whereas GMS would say, "Man, fuck your
Fuck
fuck."
that.
They say, "Fuck the kids." Yo,
Fuck the kids.
they're
Well, you know what though? But you know
now
what? I'm
Kazakh said, "Fuck the kids." What is
yo
wrong,
man.
guys?
But you know what? Something you want to know something? GMS though, a lot of people are not gonna like this, and I know it's gonna be questionable what I'm about to say.
Uh-oh.
GMS, when it comes to the Bible, that's 100% spot on.
I don't know if it's 100% spot on, but they definitely train their members to know the scriptures a lot more. I think. I don't know. I don't know. My bad.
They are way more disciplined when it comes to a scriptorial context.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Yes.
Like Jesus, for an example, he said, "Listen, my family are the people who follow these scriptures.
Who is my
My
who is
yeah,
my
who is my brother?
who's
Who
my
is my mother? The people who follow this word. That's what Jesus said. I mean, Jesus was a very hard individual, and when it comes to the Bible, people have no idea who Jesus was.
and GMS will highlight that.
Yeah.
Whereas I've seen that being highlighted in the ICGJC. This
Mm-hmm.
because he was an austere man.
Mm-hmm.
Austere means very strict. Like he didn't
Strict.
fuck around, man. He
Like
saw.
one dude in the Bible, he was crying about his mom passing away. He said, "Listen, you over here worrying about your mama passing away. You need to worry about you
Let
and
the
where you're
let,
going once you pass away."
let the dead bury the dead. He says.
Yeah, he hard individual. Jesus was a tough. Jesus, like they don't play that shit in the movies. They don't.
They,
They don't play that stuff in the movies.
they want the little soft Jesus. Oh, he shall cast. Who's without sin shall cast the first stone, and it's very
Yeah,
very wise saying. But then didn't he create a whip out of cords when he saw people selling merchandise in the
he was whooping people's asses.
It said he turned the tables up. He's flipping tables over, and it
You
said
know how
he
much those damn
did it.
tables weigh? You know how much them tables weigh?
No, he made a whooping stick out of cords. He said he got some cords together, and he said he whipped them out of the temple because they were selling merchandise on the Sabbath day, and you making merchandise of my people. He says, and
Wasn't he also wearing a battle girdle as well?
oh, I'm not sure. Girdle?
He would walk around like they like it like because people don't know this. These people were warriors,
Well,
technically.
I mean, when the when this what do you call it, centurions or whatever, the Roman
Yeah, they were
soldiers
coming in. They
came.
were coming in. Yeah, they were coming in to raid Jesus and them. And then Peter grabbed a sword, a damn knife, and cut the centurion's ear off.
He cut his ear clean off, and Jesus,
Yeah, and Jesus had to pick the ear up and put it back in the man's head. See,
Jesus
this is
Christ,
stuff.
not the time. Like they made it seem like Jesus Christ, like at least as an Israelite, like okay, we are for violence, but it just wasn't the time.
Right.
So Jesus Christ put the ear back on after Peter, because Peter, what it seems to me, Peter was not a person to f around with. Peter was no
Peter
joke.
wasn't playing.
They crucified him upside down.
A centurion, though. He took down a Roman centurion.
That's right.
Them centurions can fight their ass off.
But how did Jesus put his ear back on?
He just put it back on. This is divine power, I got.
But did he? Because in the Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ, they said he went back in time and did that as if it never happened. And exactly, that's why they didn't arrest Peter or do anything to Peter, because Jesus Christ stopped. It's like Tazadaki said one time when that happened, he said Jesus Christ stopped the time, cut Peter in the process while everything is frozen. He cuts Peter and then reverses time, makes it seem like it never happened, puts his ear back on, and it just proceeds like it just never happened. Tazadaki said that that's what actually happened one time. So there's these little differences in every little fucking cult, you know, like
Yeah.
IUIC, ICGJC, Torah Knights, GMS, ISUPK is another one. Then you got AOC, the Ambassadors of Christ. All these people teach different things when you get down to the nitty gritty, but overall, we all used to say Jesus Christ is black, the real Jews are black, and the Hispanics and Native Americans, and just to find the common ground between all of these groups. That's where they all find common ground. But yeah, then there are these little doctrines like the Comforter Doctrine. I don't even know who Bishop Nathaniel thinks he is, but he seems to be becoming a cultist type figure to me, more than Tahar and GMS and Yahan and ISUPK or any other leader right now. I see Bishop Nathaniel with the IUIC being interviewed by Gorilla Hebrew. We can't forget about Gorilla Hebrew because he's out here doing interviews too, and he'll show up on black networks and black YouTube channels, and they'll show him the utmost respect.
Yeah.
Like, don't y'all realize this guy is a racist ass bigot? And it's weird how much respect these people get. It's very odd.
Gorilla Hebrew could also has more talent in terms of getting himself to relate to the average black person.
Well,
He's really more familiar with that culture. Whereas Tahar or someone like that, they don't care about that at all. They don't give a damn about that.
Well, he's very in tune with the black culture. I see.
Yeah.
Really Hebrew, and he got so much white DNA in him from his father down to his mother. So his mother is like almost 100% white, as far as we know. We don't know. His father was a military man who was, usually, and that's what usually happens. These black military guys, they marry another race, don't they?
Well, you see, you got to understand, like when you talk about America, like black in America being a mostly white country. you're gonna find black people who look like damn near close to white folks.
Mm.
Basically, I mean, it's you know what I mean.
Touching on the question real quick. I don't want to cut you off. Just
Go ahead, ask away.
okay. So there's a question by D. Boudreau. Boudreau. I don't know how to pronounce it. I think I got it almost right. She says, "Are any of these cults aware of archaeology? Are there apologists for this?" Listen, just real quick before you get on it, Jason. They are. They claim to be, but if you bring up any archaeology that goes against their belief, they're going to dismiss it as the white man and the white man's
Yeah,
fault. But
as I can't hear you, la 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 la. I can't hear you.
then they'll bring up pseudo archaeology. Now, Google, when you got time, Google pseudo archaeology. And what's going to come up immediately is that pseudo archaeology is usually pushed by white nationalists. This is what neo Nazis and KKK are doing. I don't have
And the black peoples are going to be doing the same thing too
yeah, and
soon.
I can't name one thing that they do or one piece of fake archaeology. I'm trying to think of it. I know there's Robert Yates is a white pseudo archaeologist. He's like very educated, but look up Robert Yates, and he's saying that the Native Americans are Israelites, like they were Jews here in America, and some of them were Muslims. He'll even say that there were Muslims in America before before the Europeans even got here, because Mansa Musa or whatever, and then like all these things from Africa somehow got over here to America before, and there's no real evidence of this. And this is pushed by a lot of people. This is pushed by black uh, um, archaeologists.
The Lomax and shit.
Say that again.
All the Lomax and stuff.
Heard that, but
Yeah, you know the big lip guys in Mexico.
they seem as if before the Europeans got here in 1492, there was already an African influence in America somehow, in the Americas. And there's very, very little evidence of this. There is some evidence, I say, but it seems like some Australian um, Africans or Aborigines somehow got over to this part of the world. And it's not they didn't make a big impact, but this is where you have that one dude who's they love this educator. He's a black. He wrote a book called "They Came Before Columbus." You ever heard of this book?
Vaguely.
His name is he has like three names, and it's something with an S. But if you look up the book, They came before Columbus.
Rudolph Miles Windsor.
No, Rudolph Windsor. He's the Babylon to Timbuktu author. That's
Okay.
But before that, there was a dude named I forget his name. It's like he has like three names, but if you look it up, I can't look it up. I can't get off of this thing. But they came before Columbus, and he wrote a book saying that there were Africans already here before Columbus came, and that is based off of very, very iffy information, very shaky information, just word of mouth from natives that said that there were people that were black colored, because what Native Americans used to do, this is where I think they fuck up. Native Americans and some of the ones that were in the Caribbean that would invade people, they would paint themselves dark. There's like there's a lot of indigenous people that they get these tattoos that are temporary tattoos, and there's a woman called a tattoo woman. Um, and what they'll do is get this black paint that comes from a fruit, this black juice or whatever, and they'll put it on their skin, and it'll last like a good amount of weeks. And I think what was going on was that Native Americans were doing this, and at night they would invade people, and they would color themselves dark, like black, because it says they were black skinned, like they were black people. But in
Oh,
Native
okay.
Americans, they're not black, but they're definitely brown. Um,
Burgundy color.
but there were bones like in South America, there were bones of what they call Austropolithecus or something like that. These are
Hmm.
like Aboriginal Australians that originally came from Africa and they ended up in Australia. And then from there on, if you look at the whole Pacific Ocean and all of that, if you keep going in the direction, in that direction, you keep going east, you will end up in South America on the West Coast or in North America or Central America. So Polynesians definitely made their way over. Australians definitely made their way over, but the impact wasn't as heavy as the Siberian migration from the Bering Strait or Beringia into America. This is what
Hmm.
this is what Native Americans are. But Hebrew Israelites like GMS will say, no, Native Americans are black. And it's like, what, man? This is not scientific. This is not archaeology.
Actually, yeah, I think they would say that. I think no, it's a lot deeper than that. They would say that the Native Americans was the Northern Kingdom, the Native Americans and the Mexicans and the Puerto Ricans and the Argentinians and all those groups. They
Yeah.
got two together, and then the Northern Kingdom, because the Northern Kingdom always wanted to follow the other the nations,
So just historically, what you're talking
and they
about.
mixed and mingled with the other nations, and that's how they started to look bronze like that.
So what
That's their.
you're talking about is after King Solomon's death, right? This is biblical. This is a big point in history and in the Bible. Like, as an Israelite, if you don't know 720 BC, if you don't know that date, 720 BC, you didn't really learn this Black Hebrew Israelite shit. Black
Right.
Hebrew Israelites believe that at in 720 BC, the 10 tribes came to America and populated this whole country, and this is who the Native Americans are. Now, what
Right.
really happened in 720 BC in Israel, in the Middle East, was that just before that, you had King Solomon. God was angry at him. He had a bunch of wives. He let the other nations influence him in worshiping other gods. And therefore, God said he's going to rent the kingdom in two, right? And there was like one of the prophets came and did a whole spiel and a whole demonstration of what was going to
He
happen.
gave Solomon the business basically.
You're right, right. So the northern part of Israel, which was later on, a few hundred years after 700 BC and 800 BC, it started being called Samaria, right? That's where the Good Samaritan comes from, because Samaria became the northern part of Israel, and there were all types of nations over there. You have the story of the Canaanite that came to Jesus in John chapter 4, verse 22, where he said, um, what's John chapter 4, verse 22 say? It says that salvation is given to the Jew. Remember that? John,
Hmm.
that's John chapter 4, verse 22. And y'all can check me. I still remember all this shit. Um, where was he at? He was in Samaria. There were other nations that populated northern Israel. Why? Because the 10 tribes, they left northern Israel, and then what you had in southern Israel, it was the nation of Israel, then the nation of Judah. There were two nations that were dividing already.
Right, and the two nations had the southern kingdom had Judah, Benjamin, and Levi.
Well, remember the Levites were amongst all tribes because they were the priests.
Okay. Right.
Remember, so that whole the southern was Judah, Benjamin. That's some we gotta revisit that because that seems like bullshit to me. How the hell did all the Levites all of a sudden now go to the southern kingdom? I think I remember a scripture being brought up that might deal with that. So I would love if
Mhm.
somebody could pull that up. I remember Tahawam, which is an elder in the ICGJC, bringing something up. But the way I remember it is that the Levites were priests and they didn't have any piece of land, so they lived amongst all the tribes, and there was no land of Levi. It was just the land. There was the land. It was the tribe of Judah had their land. Even the tribe of Dan, and then you had the Levite
Okay.
priests that were delegated amongst all these lands, and they would live off of the people. They didn't have a job. Their job was to be the priest. And somewhere down the line, there was a split. Northern Israel was conquered by the Assyrians. The 10 tribes were taken from there, or I don't, not all of them. Obviously, some of them were, and they ended up in Assyria. But the southern kingdom was the kingdom of Judah, and then this is how in history Israelis or Israelites were no longer called Israelites. They started being called Jews because the only Jews that were left, the only Israelites that were left, was from the land of Judea. So they were all called Jews. Whether they were Judites or Benjamites, they were just called Jews, right? That's how
Mhm.
for it. Um, so we know that history. That's 720 BC. Shalmaneser,
It
Sennacherib.
just actually just kept falling apart,
Mm-hmm.
just bit by a bit, basically.
Read the book of Second Kings for y'all that want to learn about this. Read the book of Second Kings, chapter 19, and
Hmm.
chapter 8, chapter 18, chapter 19, chapter 20, chapter 21. It all goes over this period in time, and even chapter 17, I believe. Second Kings chapter 17, verse 6 tells you a little bit about how the 10 tribes were relocated. But there's definitely historic facts in the Bible, but it gets like the bullshit starts coming when they start talking about supernatural things. The angels came and started fighting with us, and they killed 200,000 Assyrians, and it's like that's when once they start getting supernatural, that's where the bullshit starts coming. But there's some historic shit. And yes, the Assyrians came, they conquered Israel. The northern part of Israel just became a whole nother land, a whole nother type of environment. And the southern part of Israel, where Jerusalem and Bethlehem and Nazareth and all of that, all those places were, they're all considered Judea. And this is where the term Jew came from. Israelites there's 12 tribes of Israel. One of the tribes is called the tribe of Judah. So what happened in the New Testament where now they're just called Jews? And this is just a little bit of the history there. During this time, there were already Native Americans in North America, South America. They were there. They were there way before this was going on. They were there doing all types of rituals, smoking the peace pipe. They were doing all this shit. And
Hmm.
there's
Blood rituals.
Israelites. Hebrew Israelites have their history fucked up, and they think that America was populated 720 BC by the 10 tribes of Israel, and it's like no, they've been there. There's history of the Kennewick man, the Sunrise Child. There's bodies found, man. This is archaeology. Look up the Sunrise Child. Look up the history of the Bluefish Caves up in Alaska and in what do you call it? British Columbia, the Vancouver Bay, and they've done so much archaeology in what's the damn capital of Alaska? Anchorage. There's a
Hmm.
there's a university called Anchorage University. This is the capital of Alaska, and they've done research, man, on all this shit. There's Native Americans that have been up there in America because isn't Alaska America? Where does Alaska fall in the 10 tribes? That's what I always ask these cats. Are they Gadites, man? Are the Inuits and the Eskimos Gadites? Because they seem very fucking Asian to me. But yeah, the Bluefish Caves, man. They found that there were already
Oh shit.
There was
Yeah, bro. I never thought of that. You're right. You're talking about the Eskimos. Are they part of the
where did they
10?
fall? Because what is a
Oh
Gadite?
shit.
What is the definition of a Gadite according to a Hebrew Israelite? It's a North American Indian.
That's what they think.
Okay, so then the Alaskans, the
That's not a definition of a Gadite in the Bible. I mean,
bro,
a North American Indian.
I forgot they call this. There's a group. All right, before 720 BC. This is all bullshit from the Hebrew Israelites. Before
Oh shit.
there have been Native Americans all throughout Canada, what we call today Canada, North America, America, even Central and South America. They were Native Americans there that they even believe Polynesians traveled over, and it wasn't they didn't have as big of an impact as the Siberian um the original
Indian. Right.
that came over, because they were the ones that really populated America, was the descendants of Siberians. But there's a little trace of Polynesian DNA and even Australian DNA in South America. It's called Punta Verde, Green Point.
Mm-hmm.
They do excavations, and it's like they're constantly coming across shit that it just completely flips what they thought they knew, and completely flips it on their head, because they thought that the migration and the population of America started naturally, just like a nice little story from north going down to the south. And it's like that shit is not so simply explained. There were people that fucking came down to South America while they were migrating down here. Motherfuckers are traveling, and things just got all fucking integrated. And it's not so simply explained by just a simple migration from north to south. It didn't work like that. And they thought that's how it happened. And it's like they started realizing, no, there were people that fucking came in canoes and shit and hit the coast of South Africa, South America, I mean. Like the canoes,
Mm-hmm.
long canoe shit that Native Americans, you know where they got that from? Polynesians. Polynesians were the ones that started the long canoes, those boats that would travel. I forgot what kind of wood they used, but
Mm-hmm.
fuckers knew how to travel the coast, but they couldn't get that far. They probably would get lost, you know. And hence
Mm-hmm.
the Easter Islands. If you ever heard of the Easter Island, that's a whole other island. It's very far off from South America,
Mm-hmm.
and it's about the same distance from South America as it is from the Polynesian Islands, from the Philippines or something, or from
Well, see,
Guam.
my question to the Hebrews is if the Southern Kingdom is black,
Yeah,
then where's the West African bones in Israel?
exactly. And where are the ships that they supposedly took from Assyrians and ended up over here in America in 720 BC? Where are all these ships? Because 10 tribes of the nation of Israel, 10? That's the majority. That's the vast majority of the whole nation. And there's no record of any ships and how they migrated over to America. There's nothing. It's all bullshit. And they go to Second Ezra chapter 13, right, verse 40 through 46, where they say those are the 10 tribes, which during the time of Shalmaneser, the king of Assyria, it's this is where there's true history. There was a king Shalmaneser of Assyria, but the Hebrew Israelites take the trueness of that, and then they'll throw in lies and try to mix it together and make you think, oh, you didn't know that. You never knew about King Shalmaneser. So let me tell you what happened. And it's, oh shit, yeah, I knew about King Shalmaneser, which is true. But then they throw in the lies after that, and you think it's all true, and it's like, fuck. When a person learns something new, their brain
Mm-hmm.
excited. Your brain releases hormones and shit. It's called endorphins. And because you're learning something new, these cult leaders know this shit. They will twist that up with lies, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and give
Mm-hmm.
you get this feeling where it's like you're being doped up. You're like on dope. And
Mm-hmm.
it feels good that you're being taught this by these cult leaders. They're teaching you something new. You never knew about this historic person. So they bring the
Mm-hmm.
history with it and then they twist a lie with it. And that's how they get a lot of us, man. That's how they got me, I think, because I'm a history fucking buff. Yeah.
Right.
Did we go
Oh man. I
all like
mean, the whole. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
it's we've been going for an hour and a half now. Are we good? Like I'm good, man.
Are you sure? Okay.
Yeah, it's on you, man. I don't want to keep you too late.
Um, I just wanted to elaborate on the thing about the West Africans. We really do have to talk about that part and who the Israelites and the Hamites were in reality.
Okay.
Who are these? I mean, what we basically talked about on the phone.
Yeah.
Because I know you want to get off, but we
No, no.
really need at least 20 minutes on that.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's go.
because because to my understanding, and I think the world's understanding, well, somewhat. As I said earlier, before, it's important for the Bible to have black people involved in it. Is either way you look at it, because it makes it to a more of a grander story.
The
You understand what I'm saying?
underdog story. And
Yeah, it makes it to a more, well, not the Black Hebrew version, but I'm talking about just the Bible in general. If you add black people to it, it makes it to a more of a grand off story, of a more of a Hollywood story in
ah,
comparison to real life.
ah,
In real life, the Hamites were the people of East Africa, and they were also the Arabs.
yeah, like the Canaanites.
Yeah, the Canaanites were white Arabian people.
Yeah. There is good evidence that suggests that the Israelites came out of the Canaanites.
Yes, yes, they're one and the same almost.
Pretty much.
Yeah, um, that's been proven. And now, and before that, they came from Sumer, right?
Before that, yeah, the majority of the people that were there in Israel came from the Sumerians and
Yeah.
which is the land of Assyria by the Tigris and the Euphrates River. The Sumerians, or they were also called Akkadians, where we think the word Ak comes from. The word Ak means brother, and the Phoenician alphabet. This is how they trace all this down to. Is because the Phoenician alphabet comes from that area, and
Mm-hmm.
you see that the Hebrew alphabet comes from the Phoenician alphabet. It's the same alphabet. It's the
Right.
same thing. It really is. And this is how you connect cultures, is through language. There's different ways, but linguistics is a very important way to do that.
Right. Right. And that's the thing is that when we look at the table of nations, the most of these nations were Arabian nations.
Mm-hmm.
That's just right down through the whole list of the whole nations. And
Right.
we go, we also have to get into the Greek origins of the Bible as well. You know,
Oh
and
wow,
one of those,
for sure.
yeah, because you have the Septuagint.
Mm-hmm.
That was an obvious sign, but as a young man, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Do you think the Israelites could become a violent public menace like Antifa? Hmm. Antifa is more political, man. Antifa it stands for anti-fascist, anti-fascist,
No,
and it's
and
very,
Tifa is more dangerous.
and it's
I
and,
think so.
and it's very heavily populated by white liberals.
Yeah,
It's white liberals doing this shit. They go up in people's faces and they say, "Raise your fist. Do you stand for us or are you a fascist?" And everybody's a Nazi. If you don't agree with them, these are socialists. They follow the literature. They read the literature of Karl Marx, which is the godfather of socialism, and they identify everything as very two dimensional. It's you're either an oppressor or you're the oppressed.
Yeah.
You're either a slave master or you're a slave. How does that fit America where we at today? It doesn't fit what's going on at all, man. I'm not a slave master or a slave, man. Are those only two options? It's like that's how they look at everything, so two dimensional. You're either the oppressor, the oppressor. Capitalism is the cause of poverty, they say, and poverty is the cause of crime. And this is the next video I'm doing. Is how does poverty cause crime? Doesn't crime cause poverty too? If poverty causes crime, and maybe we can come up with the whole story of a poor person who's so hungry, and poor Aladdin, he just wants some bread and he just steals some bread. And, is that wrong? Philosophically, that's not wrong. Is it wrong to steal and feed your family who's going to die? And philosophically, that's actually not wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. They'll tell you there's nothing wrong with somebody stealing in order to feed their starving family. That's
Mm-hmm.
philosophically, that's not a wrong thing. But what the fuck are we doing today in America? We don't have absolute poverty. There's no Aladdins out here just trying to steal bread to feed their monkey and themselves. Like that's not what's happening, man. They're fucking doing flash robberies. They're stealing Balenciaga purses and jewelry and Jordan sneakers from the Nike outlet and shit. That's what's going on. Think that they're selling these sneakers? Some of these motherfuckers just want to wear these sneakers. And there have been many people that have been caught rioting and arrested, and then they'll go into their background and their parents are fucking doctors, lawyers. And it's like they're not in poverty. They're just rioting. They just want to fucking be down with the program. And this is something else, man. What's happening in America is relative poverty. It's not absolute poverty. It's you look at your neighbor and you think, "Oh, I feel poor because my neighbor has a BMW and I have a fucking Honda." And like you're not poor. You can eat. You have
Mm-hmm.
enough to eat. You just feel poor because you're relating. It's what's called comparative thinking. Have you ever heard of this? People love to do this. It's a psychological phenomenon. Comparative thinking is huge. This is why people like Robin Williams commit suicide and shit, and Anthony Bourdain, and all these people that are celebrities that have money, but they're not popping anymore. They're not. They're not on. They're not going viral. Nobody cares about them anymore. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
and look at the Kardashians. They see the Kardashians online, and fucking
Mm-hmm.
Kylie Jenner or whatever, she's getting like fucking $30,000 for every Instagram post or something like that. That shit makes people get pissed off because of that, and they feel
Right.
inferior. And it's like, what the fuck does she got that I don't have? And that's the type
Right.
of shit that causes a lot of stress and depression. And social media. Listen, the human race is not ready for social media. The psychology of man, we were not ready for social media at all. So, um, just going off track there. I mean, I don't know. We were talking about
Crime though does cause poverty. You
crime.
could say that.
Yeah, so poverty causes crime. They say, and crime.
Not really. Poverty wouldn't cause crime
But
necessarily.
think about this real quick. Um, if poverty causes crime, what does being poor have to do with you killing somebody? It's not
It
like
don't nothing.
and they always just stick to
Yeah.
robberies, theft. and it's like there are more crimes than just robbery and theft. So
But
poverty itself
crime,
is not going to
but
cause
crime would. But
the
I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. I
yeah.
apologize.
No, I'm just saying like poverty itself is not going to cause you to rape somebody or
No,
kill
no,
somebody. There's no
no,
incentive in that. But
no, none.
yeah, what was you saying?
But crime, on the other hand, does cause poverty because
Yeah.
if a property value is going down and the person committed a crime, a murder or something, that brings the property value down,
Right.
and the
So
person can't sell their house.
so poverty can cause crime,
I
right?
don't. It can a little on
Yeah.
a smaller
And
like well on a small aspect. It does cause crime in terms of stealing.
right.
Murder, murder is more of an organized crime.
Yeah.
So something like organized crime, see something like that
Yeah.
is organized crime would cause poverty.
Oh yeah. Um
Yeah.
um homicides, a lot of homicides, car break-ins, home invasions in one area, which is crime, will cause poverty by now the property value, like you were saying, in that area is going to go down.
Hell. Having whores on the corner causes
Yeah.
property value to drop.
Right. Just having there's the homeowners association will send you a letter if the outside of your house is not up to par.
That's a crime, right?
But in
That's definitely a crime because it's bringing the property value down.
yeah, but on an individual level, if you have a criminal record, you're not going to get a good job. So you're going to be forced to work minimum wage most likely because of crime. So crime can cause poverty on an individual level and on a major scale.
Right,
It seems more likely that crime causes poverty rather than poverty causes crime.
right.
Because, I mean, you can also say that people that are in poverty are probably going to drown their sorrows with alcohol, right? They're gonna be already in sorrow and they're gonna be down. So they're more likely to drink. I think. I don't. I mean, listen. I don't know. I'm not. I don't know any. I haven't really looked up any stats on this. I'm going off of just what seems right, which is not always right. But
Mm.
it may seem to me like it seems to me that maybe people that are poorer are gonna use drugs and alcohol more often, and drugs and alcohol can be the cause of some crimes. Um, but there's no real correlation. Like we can't pinpoint this shit down to this is why this. It's not always that easy. You know what I mean? But
Mm.
we can definitely point to instances where people that have a criminal record are not going to get a certain type of job, and they're going to have to live in a with a lower income. That's to me that's crime causing poverty. And then like we mentioned with the property values going down in areas like Minnesota and New York City, in Ferguson, where riots happened, Baltimore after Freddie Gray, the fucking property value starts to go down because this area is historically known for people rioting. So riots.
Chicago as well.
Oh,
Sadly.
Chicago, man. Chicago, Chicago is special to me. It's a very different. I need to take my ass out there and go see it for myself because I know a lot of people from Chicago.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's messed up, man. That is messed up.
you've seen the team takeover thing.
Like the mayor of that place is more. The mayor is like the you and I just spoke about it over the phone. The
Yeah,
mayor, this mayor here, this new mayor of Chicago, he's worse than Lori Lightfoot ever was. And this is 5 minutes.
yeah. I think
This is just 5 minutes.
uh,
Just seeing him for the first 5 minutes. This dude is way worse than Lori Lightfoot ever was.
he just came into office.
Yeah, he's worse, far worse than Lori Lightfoot. Left leaning as hell.
The contender, the guy that would have been that was his opposition. I don't know the new mayor's name, but the opposition was a Hispanic, like a 60. He was like 50, 60-year-old Hispanic. He was a tall, white-looking Hispanic, and I believe his last name was Vallas, Vallas.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was the Republican candidate, and he seemed like he was going to be more, um,
Appropriate.
yeah, more like leaning towards punishment, and crime, and dealing with that. And this mayor, the black,
I think
very,
what didn't work for him was he was like a white Hispanic.
yeah, man, they need Chicago wants a. They want somebody that looks like the majority of the people. I don't even know. It's like 45% black people in Chicago. So I guess that's the majority. If you
Like if he was more browner, I think he would have had a chance.
There's a good amount of Hispanics in Chicago. It's a really good
So
amount.
there's a good amount of
So
it.
I know, what's it called? Humble Park.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, like there's a lot of Hispanics out there. This is where the Latin Kings began. Latin Kings began in Chicago. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there's a good amount of Hispanics out there for sure, but I think the black population uh, outgrows outgrew the Hispanic population. But there are a lot of white people that live in Chicago. White people love Chicago. The lead singer of the Smashing Pumpkins, he lives right across the street from Wrigley Field. He lives in that whole area where the Cubs play. You know,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
so if you ever seen the show Shameless,
Vaguely. I never seen it before. I'm sorry, sir.
it takes place in Chicago, and if
Mm-hmm.
it shows the gentrification, you know, of downtown Chicago and what's going on in certain areas where it once was the hood and nobody wanted to live there, but now it becomes this is like a quaint little area where hipsters are like, I want to buy your house. And
Mm-hmm.
this is the hood. But because it's like close to a train station that'll get you downtown to South Street or
Mm-hmm.
whatever to Michigan Avenue real quick, you know,
Mm-hmm.
there's people that come up there. But in your case, you left Chicago and you went elsewhere. You left the state. You left Illinois. Period.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I left New York City, man. New York City, the whole state. I mean, it's like it's just too expensive,
It's
And
too expensive. Yeah. The rent.
yeah,
I see the prices for rent, and we're talking about like a one bedroom, damn near shack is like $1,500 a month.
yeah. And then there's people that come from. There's these white little hipsters that come and be like, "This is cute. This is quaint." And they'll pay that much. That's why they put the price up, just like they do in Brooklyn. Brooklyn has become this dope ass cool little place for these hipsters, these fucking, and then they start building all these vegan restaurants around it and these juice bars, and it starts to become nicer. And it's like people hate. They'd be like, gentrification is the worst, and it's like it's not even that bad, man. They're cleaning up the fucking neighborhood. Why is gentrification bad? I've never understood that shit with gentrification. It's like they're fucking cleaning up the neighborhood, and now if there are black people that could hold on to that property, their property value goes up because of gentrification.
Right.
So what's so bad about that? Like that's what
That
happened in
person.
Chicago, and that's what happened in
Well, that's really a class issue. That's really a class issue, and they trying to dress it up as a black issue, but it's not. That's a class issue.
Chicago. Thank you. White.
Yeah.
They call it white flight. When white that's the opposite. When white people leave a bad area, oh, this is white flight, and you're making the area worse. It's like because
So how about the black folks leaving the same area?
there's no such thing as black flight. Somebody told me. I said, "What? Hold on, wait."
It's just a bullshit ass town. This town sucks. That's what's the bottom line to it.
I
The
literally
town is just
had,
sucks.
I literally like, I was, I go live on different platforms. So I was on this platform called Meet Me, and I'm live talking to this black educated old. I'm listening first, and then I start commenting, but I'm listening to her talking about the new Jim Crow. There's a book called The New Jim Crow that's talking about the jail system, the prison system, and how that has become the new Jim Crow. And then she starts talking about how she's like, well, I don't mind leaving the hood. I need to get my black ass out of the hood because the hood don't love me back. And I'm like, well, that's a fucking, that's the truth. And I said, jokingly in the comment section, I said, oh, so this is Black Flight. Ha ha ha, LOL, JK, whatever. And then she starts saying, there's no such thing as black flight. No, there's no such thing as black flight. You don't know that there's only white flight. There's no such thing as black flight. And I was like, God
How
damn.
could you say that?
First of all, I was just joking, but
Right.
no, there was some truth to that because it's like you're doing the same thing that a white person would do, and white people
Right.
get attacked by black people way more than the other way around. They get targeted. If you see a white person in the hood walking around 10 o'clock at night, that's a fucking, they got a target on their head because you think that they got money. You're gonna think they got money, man, and
Okay.
you won't think the same thing about a black person just not just walking around at 10 p.m. You might not think that. I'm talking about just looking from the perspective, and even how I used to look at it. Yeah, but I'm from Queens, Georgia.
Mostly if it's a man, he's going to get targeted. Usually,
The black,
because men
the black,
have
white,
because men in general have resources.
yeah,
A woman a
men
woman may
more
not be attacked.
men make more money than women for sure on a major
Yeah,
scale.
yeah.
No matter what race you go into,
Like
but
it's a black guy my age, they'll probably rob me as well because I have things.
you don't know how
I
many
may not have
stories.
much as somebody else have, but I have things.
You don't know how you don't know how many stories I've seen in Chicago where you see a young white dude down in a nice area, affluent area, and they get approached by a few black people and they start to get robbed for their phone or they go in their pockets. I've seen it many times.
I've heard that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've even seen it where this is where crime, the poverty causes crime shit falls apart. Now,
Mm-mm.
you have a situation, I've seen this many times, where a person of any race, fuck race at this point. Let's just talk about poverty and crime. You got poor, so-called poor people. And these motherfuckers ain't poor. They just don't want to fucking work. They rather rob, steal, sell drugs, which because because drugs are illegal, you can sell it at a markup price, and you make more money than you would fucking working at Wendy's. So it just seems more beneficial for a person that is living in the hood. They rather make more money, doing something that takes less work. So I've seen this many times. They'll put the gun up in somebody's head. The person will fucking give them their money. Maybe they'll give them a little hard time before they give them their money and their belongings, and then they start getting pissed off. But they still get the belongings. So now the incentive of the robbery now pays off. Now they got the stuff that they need. They don't need to kill the person. But you know what they do sometimes? They still kill the person. What incentive do you have at that point? How does poverty cause crime work there? Because you already got the money. You don't get anything more by killing the person that just gave you all their money. Now you want to kill them. You don't gain anything by that. You
No,
actually
he goes to
add
jail.
the charges now. Now you're adding
Hmm.
charges that are not necessary. You were good, just you could have walked off, got the dude's belongings, and now you're gonna get charged for petty theft at worst. But because you're mad about them not giving you their phone code or whatever, so you could go into their phone, now you want to shoot them, and now you got murder on your hand. There's no incentive to murder sometimes. And I see that a lot in those cases where you have a robbery, they get the belongings, and they
You breaking up. We may have to end the live. It looks like. You may have to end the live. I'm sorry about this, Sam. Let me see what's going on. Sam will be right back. I don't know what's going on, guys. I'm sorry about this. Hmm, Maybe I should get off too. I don't know. I'm sorry about this, guys. I'm gonna get off. Let me see what's going on. I'm gonna get off. Thank you very much, and stay safe, guys. Thank you.
Wow. Are we live? Are we live again? Like, can you hear me? That's weird. Hmm. That's very weird. I see all the yeah, it froze up. Let me see. All right, we are live. Hold on. That's so weird. It just froze up like that. That was weird. Okay. So we're back. Yay. But this is like a new live, it seems. And it still shows hey, whatever, man. I told dude, come back on. We back. I'm sorry for the technical times, San Miguel TV. Technical times. The heat of the night. We're gonna put some music on. Let's. I'm gonna put on a song called "You Belong to the City." Where you at, Jay? Oh, there you go. We on, baby. Like hot butter popcorn. We on. Are you back? No, that I don't know what happened.
Okay.
We good. It seems like this was a new live or something, but
Yeah, it's a new one. It's brand new.
we still got the same amount of likes.
That's awesome.
That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go on the TV to see. Let me show y'all how we. Well, hold on. This is a commercial. San Miguel TV is not sponsored by any of these ads. San Miguel TV is only sponsored by Black and Mild and Code 45. That's it. Hold on. Oh yeah. Hold on. Where we at? Boom. Are we live? Let's see.
We should be.
Yeah, there we go. You see?
Okay. Awesome.
Let's get off of that.
That's awesome.
Let's get off of that. That's a TV. Um,
Huh.
yeah, man. So I'm like my whole like YouTube recommendations are coming up now, and I'm seeing like Hebrew Israelite stuff. I like to focus on different topics, man.
Hmm.
A white woman beat up by black teens during Chicago riots.
I heard about that. Yeah, yeah. They beat up a white woman, and they did a lot of bad shit out there. They were tearing up cars, jumping on cars and stuff.
Teen takeover.
Teen takeover. I mean, what started that? Do you know what started that?
It started last year.
I mean, but I'm talking about to day. Like, what started that?
A hashtag, just hashtagging, just like
Really?
so. It started last year. I think it was the same day
Hmm.
last year. It became like this phenomenon that I think was started because of rioting, just simple rioting.
Just
It's
getting, just getting, just getting free stuff, basically.
like, and then when it comes to what happened at the Capitol, which I'm against rioting all around, but it seems like what happened at January 6th, the Capitol riots, it seems like that's wrong, and these white people were wrong. And then when it happens in Chicago and shit, it's like, yeah, but they're just teens, and these are just teens acting up, and they don't have after school programs. So they don't have after school programs, so they don't know what to do. So they got to go out and beat people up because they don't know what to do after school. They come up with all these fucking excuses, and I'm like, because there's no after school. There are after school programs. First of all, in the hood in Chicago, I know in New York City there were so many after school programs. You could not fucking walk across the school without them trying to get you into the after school program. But it became this whole, well, they're acting up because they have nothing to do. And if there were more after school programs, they wouldn't be fucking up people and robbing people and shooting people. Like, what? If you have that same mentality, you take that into an after school program, they're going to shoot up the after school program. It don't
Hey
make it.
man, if they voted that son of a bitch in, that man they voted, man. This dude is talking about cops being replaced with a damn what's that?
Social workers.
A social worker and a clipboard.
You know what a social worker You know what a social worker is going to do? They're going to call the cops. Get somebody here with a gun. I don't have a gun. Get somebody here with a gun. I have a clipboard, man. I can't do
Shit.
this shit is crazy, man. I think it's stupidity, man. We were so
It's the
stupid.
movie. It's like the movie The Demolition Man. It's the same thing where the cops.
Yeah,
You remember that scene where Simon Phoenix is like causing all kind of mayhem and shit, and the cops are like,
that's what.
um, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's Wesley Snipes.
and the cops showed up and they were like, please lay down on the floor with your hands be behind your back.
Oh, oh,
Maniac. Yeah, yeah.
shit.
It's the same thing. Demolition Man tells you all kinds of shit that's gonna happen.
Oh shit! I never
You
realized
remember that?
that. You know what stood out to me was the scene where Sandra Bullock said, "Let's do intercourse," and they fucking put on some fucking electronic gear, some shit, and they have
Yeah,
sex.
and he was like, "Wait a minute, you guys don't have sex?" She was like, "A fluid transfer? Disgusting."
That's right. Yeah, man. Demolition Man was fucking yo. Sylvester Sly Stallone, man. I love that guy. You know.
But that is his number one movie to me.
Mm.
Like that movie haunts the hell out of me in so many different ways because
Wow. As a
it predicted the future.
I think you're a little bit. I think you got a few more years on me. I think I'm not even sure, but either way, I remember watching this movie, 1993, 1992, maybe,
Yeah.
and it blew my mind, bro. It blew my mind, and it sticks with me till this day. I haven't watched the movie since. the 90s. And it's fucking it's embedded in me. I know what you're talking about because Simon Phoenix was like, "Oh, this is too easy."
Yeah. He
Right?
was like the old school bad guy, old school criminal. And what he did was he was like, damn, this is like a vacation.
Somebody said
And on top of it, when he came out of prison, when he came out of the ice box, he was even more dangerous than ever before.
somebody said
And
somebody said
Sylvester was like a seamstress.
somebody said Airplane 2 predicted the future. Yo, I love the airplane movies with fucking Leslie Nielsen. I love the
Mhm.
movies. I love those movies, but what you're talking about is crazy, man. It's like I never thought about that point. What
The
always
cops still didn't know what to do with Phoenix. The cops was like this maniac. They call him a maniac. Yeah,
because in the future it seemed like at that time everybody was so kind. Everybody was trying to be so kind and just polite. And would you please get down on the floor? Would you please put your hands behind your
yeah.
back, please? If you don't mind, would you mind like surrendering? Like, no, motherfucker. This is Simon Phoenix. Yes, yes,
And
yes.
it was like they were singing the strange hot dog songs. They were singing weird songs because the music from the old days was so offensive. They were offended by some of the old lyrics of the music, like a natural woman, that one with Aretha Franklin.
Franklin,
Yeah,
like a
you make me feel like a natural woman. In the trans community, the trans people were offended by that song. So they want that song banned.
mm,
You understand?
hmm.
And you remember now the music they were playing in the Demolition Man, they were playing hot dog music, hot dogs, armor hot dogs. You remember that scene?
I think so, man. I think so, man. I gotta watch that. I think we want to watch that movie again.
You
What?
remember that scene? You remember that scene that they were telling you about that? They
Mm,
were telling you that people are going to be offended by certain music.
wow,
So,
wow.
so yeah, they're telling you they were showing you that. Remember, like, because we're just watching, like back in the '90s when you watched the film,
We
you
had
don't
no.
know what the hell they talking about.
We were just. It's just them estimating. Like the Simpsons had an episode. They predicted a bunch of shit in the Simpsons. They said
Yeah.
the form. They said it was a futuristic episode of the Simpsons where they said, "Well, yeah, the former president, President Trump, the former president," they said, they're speaking
Mhm.
in futuristic terms that Trump was the president already, and now Lisa Simpson was the president and shit.
And they
And
were
that's
bankrupt,
amazing. That's amazing to me that they did that.
and the country was bankrupt too.
Oh my god.
That's part of Lisa Simpson's presidency as well. That they were bankrupt.
Mm, wow. So Demolition Man is Wesley Snipes, Sylvester Stallone, Sandra Bullock, right?
Yeah,
Let me see if I can find this, man, because I need to
because
watch that movie tonight, man.
Sandra told Stallone is, well, we don't have kids by sexual transfusion. We have kids by growing them out of a laboratory.
Oh wow.
See, so because Sandra's look. When you look at Sandra Bullock, she's like a perfect human.
Hmm.
Like her whole image.
Dark hair. She's
Yeah.
not so white. She's not like a fucking
I
strawberry.
wouldn't even say racially. I just say like universally all around. I mean, it doesn't matter her race.
Yeah.
She looked like somebody that grew out of a laboratory,
Mm, mm.
out of a lab. That's how she had that look about her. Perfect.
Yeah, I see.
Like no flaws at all. Because she was from a laboratory, I think.
Now we're going somewhere else.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find this movie. I'm gonna watch this movie tonight, man.
Watch that whole movie. It's one of the most important films they ever made.
Sandra Bullock. The first time I ever saw her was in the movie Speed with Keanu Reeves,
Yeah.
and she
Yeah,
was
that was a good one too.
called While You Were Sleeping, and she was also in a movie called The Net. The Net.
Yeah.
Remember The Net?
Yeah.
What's his mother? Denzel Washington was in that shit.
Wasn't the net.
Who's the,
Okay.
who's the dude? Denzel Washington was in The Net, I believe. Sandra Bullock was
I
in
don't
it.
think he was in the net. I think what's his name was in the net? Michael the Douglas. Was he in that?
No, no, no.
Or was that something else?
It was the dude that played motherfucking the Spaniard in um I'm thinking Gladiator. Gladiator? What's the motherfucker? Damn, I forget his name. The Net, right? I can't look it up right now, but if y'all could look up that movie, The Net. Sandra Bullock was definitely in it. No. That's not Denzel Washington. I'm thinking about Johnny Mnemonic. Remember Johnny Mnemonic?
Yeah, that was a good one too. Johnny Mnemonic.
That was a good one. That was a good one. That was Denzel. And what's his fucking name, man?
That wasn't Denzel. That was Ice T. That was Keanu Reeves.
Keanu
Keanu Reeves and
Reeves.
Ice T.
Keanu Reeves is in Johnny Mnemonic. Yo, I'm
Yeah.
all backwards now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's '90s, baby.
But listen, Demolition Man. Getting back to fucking Demolition Man. Whoa.
Yeah.
What a fucking movie, man. This dude is so they're time traveling,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Time travel? It wasn't time. It wasn't time travel.
Simon Phoenix didn't time travel?
No. He was frozen. You
Oh,
remember the first scene where Simon Phoenix had the building blown up? He had bombs in the building,
yes.
and like, and 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 Stallone came in there to basically rescue the hostages.
Right,
But
right,
you find out the hostages were already dead. So most likely Simon had them killed days ago or a few hours before Stallone showed up.
right.
And Simon said he didn't care. The officer, he just came in here and he wanted to stop me. He didn't care at all, you know. And so Sylvester gets frozen in prison. He gets thrown in prison as well with Simon
Right.
because they're basically saying that he caused him to blow up the building. Basically,
So right here.
yeah, yeah.
So what, Wesley Snipes had the blonde hair. The passengers. Where are the passengers? I love Wesley Snipes, man. You know, I love that dude, man. He didn't want to pay his tax. Yeah, fuck that nigga.
He said everybody. He told people not to come down on that block. That's what he told people. Don't come down this block. I don't care if you are the mailman. I don't care if you're the bus driver. Do not come down this damn block. Okay, otherwise I'm gonna kill you. Something like that.
I love this. I love this shit. This movie's
Yeah.
great, man. I'm glad you brought this up because I've always thought that, especially the scene that really sticks out to me
Mm-hmm.
was the Sandra Bullock scene where they were about to have sex, and they
And
said
she talked and she treated him like he was a terrorist.
like he's crazy, and
Yeah.
and she's like, "What are you talking about? Nobody does this anymore." And it's like, no, you're fucking. This is like gaslighting. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Like, no, what I think is normal, and what you think is normal is fucking insane.
Yeah, because they're about to have sex, virtual sex or something.
Virtual sex. You remember the movie Last Days with Angela Bassett?
Vaguely, I don't remember that. I don't watch
That's
Angela
that,
Bassett.
that's another one. Angela Bassett was in a movie called The Last Days, and so was um. Anyways, it was similar to this where they were doing virtual sex. They'll put on a headset. This is how they had sex in the future because diseases were so rampant. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Bro,
Hmm.
we are living in a time where diseases are everywhere. I live in Florida, man. Florida
Hmm.
is horrible with diseases. The top three states are the top three cities in the world. I'm sorry, in the United States. I don't know about the world. In the United States, I think at least the top five cities, three of the top five
San
cities,
Francisco.
yeah, San Francisco's up there. But three, I think at least two or three of the top five cities with the highest rate of STDs is in Florida.
Okay.
West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, and Miami. And then San Francisco and New York City. Those are six. That's six. But I think that there's at least two or three cities in Florida alone that are some of the worst cities when it comes to STDs, infestation or whatever you want to call it. Bad. Is it bad?
Hmm.
I don't know if it's the
Hmm.
heat makes people want to fuck. I don't know what's going on out here. It might, but yeah, San Francisco. I used to work for a company called Opinion Access Corporation. Opinion Access Corporation. Opinion Access Corporation. I used to call people up and do surveys, and we would ask, "When was the last time you had sex? When was the last time you had sex without protection? How many times a month do you have sex? How many times a month do you have sex without protection? How many times a
Hmm.
month do you have sex and it's oral sex? It's like all these fucking personal questions that we would ask. Look it up. Opinion Access Corporation is a fucking company I used to work for from Long Island City, New York, Queens. And we'll do surveys over the phone. That's my job. And we just ask
Hmm.
people have there's no benefit. There's no fucking you just gotta, like I gotta keep them on the phone. That's my job. And sometimes I will the shit was hard as fuck. You ask a person,
I know folks were just hanging up the phone right and left and
yeah.
shit. You
Imagine,
get cursed out and everything.
yeah. And sometimes they'll be like, I'm sorry, sir. This is Sunday afternoon, and I'm having lunch with my family. Click. But if I even got that far, let's say I got to the first question. How many times do you have sex a month? Click away. Opinion Access Corporation was amazing. They were in the same building that the fucking Averex outlet. I would go up in that fucking building and just look at the Averex jackets like, goddamn, I gotta make enough money to get one of them jackets. I gotta make sure I make enough calls. You know who's in the movie Demolition Man? Jesse Ventura.
Yeah.
Jesse Ventura.
Yeah, he's the bad guy. He was one of the bad guys that shot Raymond Carto.
Jesse Ventura is a conspiracy. They call him a conspiracy theorist, but I like the dude, man. I like him, man. Just like I kind of like Alex Jones a little bit, even though I can acknowledge that these motherfuckers are a little nuts when it comes to
Hmm.
it's like the conspiratorial way of thinking is a little crazy. It is.
I don't think it's crazy at all.
Mm,
I don't think it's crazy at all. I think it's very rational, but
yeah. Well,
somewhat it can be. It can be crazy in its own way. I guess it can be. You're right.
I mean, because like with the Sandy Hook shootings, right? I think that the Sandy Hook shooting um was just a fucking shooting. But a person like Alex Jones,
Oh, they destroyed it. They destroyed his life. They just ruined his life.
oh yeah,
They totally ruined his life.
he got sued over that because now
Did they sue him for $1 billion?
you're making, yeah, you're making people think that this shit is all false, and then there are victims. There's like parents that have dead children that
Yeah.
because of Alex Jones, supporters of Alex Jones are going to the houses of the victims' parents
Yeah.
and saying, "You
Yeah.
are lying," and they're holding up signs saying, "You motherfuckers are lying." And I don't, I don't think that's right, man, because like these parents have dead children, man, and it's like you think that like how much of a conspiracy, how how elaborate and extravagant does a conspiracy have to be where there's fake funerals and like what the fuck, like now you're going too far, and
Yeah.
you're protesting at the fucking at the lawns and the front yards of who had their children killed.
And then to top all of that, right? Because I feel bad for Alex Jones. Like my heart goes out to him because to top all that, then he had Kanye West and Nick Fuentes up there. Kanye West,
Yes,
yeah,
and
yeah.
he got Prodigy from Mob Deep on there.
He had Kanye West talking about Jews and stuff, and that was the beginning. Like Alex, like it's like, damn.
Before Prodigy died, before Prodigy choked on an egg in a Las
Mm-hmm.
Vegas hospital or some shit. I'm talking about Mob Deep, man. This is like my like Queens, man. This is my favorite group of all time. It's Mob Deep and Wu Tang and shit. Prodigy was on the Alex Jones show, man. Remember, Prodigy was the one that said, "Illuminati wants my mind, soul, and my body. Secret society trying to keep an eye on me."
Mm-hmm.
And Alex Jones put him on his show and said, well, what you got to say? How did you come up on all this conspiracy shit? And it was similar to how I came up on it too. Like I received a book one time, a small little fucking almost a pamphlet looking book on my door right before I came into the cult, the ICGJC. And it was talking about conspiracies that involved the Titanic. It involved all types of stories that were supposedly like created by like a conspiratorial group that conspired to trick people to think that something happened that didn't really happen. So the Titanic was supposed to be this tragedy that was really a conspired event between globalists, you know what I mean, and people that had a certain benefit into killing people that were on that ship. And
Damn, I didn't know that.
yeah, the Titanic. Oh yeah, listen, man. I don't know what I did with that fucking pamphlet. That shit came to my door out of nowhere, man. And I remember opening the door and picking that up, and I'm like, "What the fuck is this?" And it was a
Oh
little like
shit.
pamphlet, like this fucking 9 by 16 pamphlet,
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah, that America's gone, man. That America like that is gone, bro. They don't have that shit no more. America was a tough place, man. Yeah, man. America was badass, man. This country was badass back in the day because they would just mail all kinds of shit to folks' doors and shit. Yeah, man. They don't have that no
I
more.
remember pulling this. I
Strange comics and shit, weird Bible comics and stuff. Yeah, all kind of shit. Jehovah Witness.
can't even remember any other stories besides the Titanic, you know,
Yeah.
and that seemed like the one that was like this conspired event to kill um, elites that were on this ship that had information that could destroy people and shit like that, So it became this whole like conspiracy, and I had no clue about that because I remember seeing the movie Titanic, and it's
Mm-hmm.
a fucking cult classic, Leonardo DiCaprio, and reading this whole story of how, oh, it was a deeper meaning behind it, and it was conspired by these global elites that wanted to hide and kill stories of whatever corruption and so forth. And hey, there might be some truth to that. There might have been some people on that Titanic ship that had information that could destroy other people, and then there could be also the assumption that because that fact is there, that oh, maybe they killed this person to hide that information. And it's like,
I saw that film. I saw the movie Titanic, and I tell you the best part of the movie just seeing the ship go down.
uh,
That was the best part. People was just the best part of the movie, just seeing the ship go down.
the ship going down. Hey, look,
Yeah, man.
this is my nigga Benjamin Bratt was in the movie. Benjamin,
Yeah,
he's a Puerto Rican fucking actor. He's in fucking Demolition Man.
yeah. Demolition Man some shit.
Look how they have Mel Gibson Lethal Weapon fucking poster. That's hilarious. Yo,
Yeah.
this movie right here, I don't know. I gotta sit back and watch this shit.
Don't you ever want something to happen?
Benjamin.
I'm gonna get off.
So I like how they have a culmination of races. They got your Benjamin Bratt, they got your Puerto Rican, right? They got your dark haired white woman, Sandra Bullock. They got your Italian greaseball and fucking Sylvester Stallone. They got your black dude with the blonde hair. It's fucking Wesley Snipes. I love that. Remember I was telling you about the African tribe that they bathe in cow urine and
Yeah.
turning their hair blonde, and that's fucking crazy to me that's happening. And it shows you the differences in cultures and how it persists. They don't see anything wrong with it till this day. They're doing it and they fucking love it. And they think that cow urine is cleansing their fucking bodies. We used to think that white people were the devil and that black people are the Hebrew Israelites. You know?
Hey, man. Hey, man. Listen, they were using the Bible, and that's not really what the Bible says itself.
You could take the scriptures and come out with all types of shit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Take I mean,
Like they were trying to say that the angels didn't sleep with women, but actually they did in the Bible.
isn't that what it says though in Genesis chapter 6?
Yeah.
The children of men, no, the children, yeah, the daughters of men. It says
Mm-hmm.
the damn, how's it worded? The
The sons of God.
sons of God
Right.
laid down with the
Daughter of men.
daughters of men. Yeah, and then that's
Yeah. But Tahar says differently. He said that those were the Adamites and stuff like that. The Adamites. There was.
I know exactly what you're talking about, my friend. The Adamite.
Yeah. He said that was the Adamites sleeping with other nations and some shit.
So what I think you're saying is that before humans as a people were labeled humans, they were labeled Adamites, right?
Yeah, like the Adamites were
Every
the descendants of Adam
okay, and
at that time. Now
oh,
this is before Jacob and them
yeah.
came about, and this is before Noah too.
So the descendants of Adam or the Adamites weren't necessarily the only people on the earth.
No,
Ah, okay.
no.
Is Elder Tahar talking about pre-Adamites? Yeah, were there pre-Adamites then?
In their doctrine, I guess so. Yeah.
Because an Adamite is just a human, I guess. It's like a chosen human, I guess.
It's a child of Adam, basically.
Child of Adam. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. From his line.
And you know how the scriptures in the New Testament talks about the second Adam.
Jesus, basically.
Is Jesus. So, was there a doctrine in GMS that said that Jesus Christ was the reincarnation of Adam?
He's supposed to be the reincarnation of Adam, and he's also supposed to be the reincarnation of King Solomon as well.
King Solomon, right? Yeah, I know that breakdown, and I came
Yeah.
to this shit, and you came in 2010, and that shit still persists. Do you know that that's a 1990s ICGJC ISUPK One West doctrine, where
I think that makes sense. Yeah.
and you
That
could
makes
see
sense.
why they take on that belief. The second
Right.
and the first Adam
Yeah.
didn't do it right, and now we got the second Adam, Jesus Christ. So they think that that's talking about a reincarnation, and it's like That's what's wrong with the Bible, because we can't take an interpretation of a scripture as proof. And interpretation
No, you can't.
of scripture is not
And see the
anything.
and see the thing about this him being the second Adam. So if he's the second Adam, did the first Adam look like him? Technically,
They probably say that there's some characteristics that they shared. There's a brother.
like
There's somebody in
he made him because God made man in His own image, right?
pretty much.
So, and Christ said, if you see me, you see the Father. Basically, he said that too.
So the somebody commenting here in the live chat, millennial, secular, and auth-right says in some white nationalist forms of Christianity, non-whites are viewed as pre-Adamites. And
Right.
so the idea of humans before Adam is not new. I love to find these connections between white nationalism and black nationalism. Many say they are the beasts of the field, he says. I'm reading comments right now in the live chat. If you can see it. So I think that this whole Black Hebrew Israelite movement is very similar to white nationalism. Very similar. We
Similar ways.
don't white nationalists hate Jews?
Yeah, that's blatant.
And we hated Jews as Black Hebrew Israelites. We hated them. They were their enemies. Not only were white people our enemies, even more, a fucking Jewish person to us was the most despicable thing on earth.
So, I never looked at them that way, but I mean, I never really looked at them as despicable. I thought they were deceived.
Well, yeah, they're deceived, okay, but then
I never looked at them as hate. I never viewed them in a hateful way. I never really looked at them in a hateful way like that. I figured that the Most High
stole our identity.
set them up.
They stole our identity, according to us. You know, like, you know what I mean? Like, we are the true Israelites, and they stole our identity, you know, as fake Israelites.
Right.
Some of them had to know that it was false.
Right. And the thing is, to me, I thought that God fed them up, basically, to make the Hebrews jealous, basically.
Okay.
As punishment.
To me, I thought the Amalekites amongst the
They were the Amalekites, right? That's what people called them.
Yeah, I thought that they were the worst of the worst, because it's already bad enough to be an Edomite, but if you're an Amalekite, which was one of the dukes of Edom, remember Amalek was one of the dukes of Edom,
right?
You were even worse now, like, you know, according to us. I don't know how I looked at it. So, not only did Black Hebrew Israelites hate white people, amongst the Jewish people, they stole your identity.
Right. Right.
They stole your identity. So you hate them even more.
Right. I guess they would hate him. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Well, what's that part in Revelations? In the Revelations that they said they are the synagogue of Satan.
It's Revelation chapter 2, verse 9, and Revelation chapter 3, verse 9.
Yeah. That you got to consider that scripture, and then you got to consider the early writings of Martin Luther.
And
You know him, right?
those scriptures existed before Martin Luther, and I think that they were talking about fake Jews. So it says those that think they are Jews and are not, but they are the
Mm-hmm.
synagogue of Satan. Yeah.
Yeah, like how can somebody and see my thing is how can somebody be a fake Jew?
But they were, because there were people claiming that they were Jews back then, and they weren't white. You know, it was like they related to today as BHIs, as Black Hebrew Israelites. We related that to white Jews, but back in those
Right.
times, there were people that were claiming to be Jews that were not, and it
Right.
had to do with race. It was just people claiming
It was
that they're not. And that's it.
yeah, because actually a Jew is just a person who is a faith, a person who believes in the Old Testament, basically.
There were
I mean, the
Colossian Jews.
mhm,
They're Ethiopian Falashan Jews. They're fake Jews.
mhm,
Ever heard of the Falashan Jews? They're black fake Jews. So the
mhm,
Falashan Jews were Africans that were claiming to be Jews that were not Jews. And
mhm.
the Jews that we see in Israel today, the Israelis, came from Poland in about 1940, 1948. Great Britain made Israel independent state. I forget how it's worded, but it's not like a country of its own. It's just like this independent state that if you have any descendancy of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which there's no way to prove that shit, you were able to get property and get land in the land of Israel. 48, look this shit up. And
Really?
not I don't mean to be fucking aligned with Hitler in any way, but Hitler,
No.
like, what the fuck is going on here? That was in World War One, because this is more World War Two.
Damn.
Yeah,
So if you just prove that you were related to,
but
like, how do you prove
prove
that?
it.
How would you?
There
How
was
would
genetic testing. There was no DNA testing back then, in 1948.
you?
So you just had to say it. You just had to say it, and maybe your customs, your culture can prove it.
Damn.
You mind if I just take a few minutes? If you want to talk about something real quick, I just gotta step to the side real quick and use the restroom.
Hey, I'm done.
All right, you want to end it here?
I'm done. T. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. I appreciate you inviting me here.
Oh yeah, this has been great, man. I think we went on two different lives,
Yeah.
but
Hmm.
hey, man, we kept it going. I appreciate you, man. We'll get back. We'll do
Mhm.
something because we got to get on these Hebrew Israelites more and more, man. We have a lot of insider.
We got to. Yeah, because there's a lot of misinformation out there, and it's leading black people to my opinion, is just leading them to the wrong direction.
I agree with you, my man, Jason. Jason Creed, man. I thank you, bro. You're a scholar and a gentleman, man.
I try to be.
Yeah,
I try to be.
I love talking to you, man. We're gonna do this more
Thank
often,
you.
man. You got to get your own channel, man.
I do have a channel. I just haven't uploaded anything in a long time.
Well, go live one day and you get me on, and
Okay.
I'll promote it. Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
yeah. Let's do that.
Thank you.
Do that one time.
Thank you.
I'll go on your channel. You have 146 subscribers.
Yeah, and I think they'll be kind of mad. They'll be kind of pissed off about the Hebrew Israelite thing.
It's all right.
They ain't gonna like that one.
Yeah, but you know how we talk, the way that we talk about Hebrew Israelites, it's like we got the inside information. It's not like we're just bad mouthing them. Like we know what we're talking
Right,
about here, you know?
right. Yep,
I,
you're
I,
right.
I like what you I like your perspective, man. I think you bring a point of view that's we need to hear, man, like from both of us. There's a lot of Hebrew Israelites out here that they'll leave a group and then they'll remain a Hebrew Israelite, and they won't speak honestly about the problems in this shit. And I think that you're not one of those. You actually speak very honestly about the problems, man. And I think we both find a lot of common ground. And it's okay if we don't find any common ground. That's all right too, you know.
Hmm.
But it's good to find common ground somewhere with somebody, so that way we could start off somewhere and proceed from there, and then fucking give our own opinions. And yeah, man, this has been
Hmm.
a great stream. Thank you, Mr. Jason Creed. Um, I'll hit you up. You know, we got our information. I'll hit you up after this.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, and everybody that's still on, thank you for coming on. D. Boudreau, Mike Stevens, Mr. Millennial, Secular, Authorite. I'm sorry to answer all your questions. There was a lot of comments, man. Like, you know, we'll get to it again. We'll come back. We'll do something else. Me and Jason Creed. All right, but
Awesome.
yeah, I think that's good enough, right? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, peace out. Peace
Peace
out.
out.
Shalom. Shabbat